started.
Oh, that's really neat.
Hello.
How wacky. Hey everyone, let me at chats. How are you doing tonight? So, yeah, I wanted to, now that we're live, I wanted to take a hot second to just really quickly describe one of the mini games that will be happening in this session. So, if you like this now, also, I should point out, this is a mini game that will be present across literally the entire game, because it is specific to our main character of this session, Selyf. First of all, everybody say hi to Amy.
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hello.
So, Amy is playing a character called Selyf. If you want to see the exact text of how this ability works, you can subscribe to the Windrose Patreon and go check it out on the World Anvil, but for everybody there at home, I will be paraphrasing as best I can, because, you should know how this one works. So, Selyf has a very unique ability. When his Scholar class is equipped in the primary class slot, it grants him the ability to, once per session, or even after the session, take a look at anyone who he's interacted with and go, hey, you, I want one of your gifts. And then he rolls, and it targets a random gift slot, 1 to 6, in their inventory, and it picks that one. And if it is one that he cannot take, say a weapon, or for some other reason it can't be taken, he is given a short description of it, 1 experience, and then he's allowed to roll again later. If he can take it, it enters a it enters basically his book, and in his book, he can pay experience to unlock that gift, whatever it is. So, say somebody's got this scary boss that you've seen, has this incredibly powerful gift, Selyf can be like, I'm gonna study that one. And it doesn't mean he gets it free, he's gotta pay a lot of experience for it, but at the same time, everything is takeable by Selyf. That means everything in this campaign is designed top to bottom already. Not like the complete city, we still got 2 weeks for that, but like, at least in this part, we've got a complete set of gifts that Selyf can steal. And, since this is Selyf's 0 session, and I want to start him with something good no matter what, when you use that ability this session, Amy, it is set up in such a way that no matter who you target, you will get something good. Like, this is your guaranteed payoff before the first session, and all of them, regardless of what you take, give you something radically different. So, you can use that mid-session, end of a session after you've met all the characters, whenever you want. But the very first grab is going to be a spectacular one, and you will not have to pay experience for what you get.
Oh, cool. A freebie.
Yeah. You get a freebie to start off with, so that'll be the mini game for this session. Also, thank you everybody for all the gift subs. Seriously, I really appreciate it. Disorder, that fantastic. Mad Connor, thank you. Not good at names, sorry. You guys are the best.
Yes, you all.
We have not since updated the emote poll. We'll be doing that before launch, but for now, just drop a bunch of arches in chat, please. Thank you. But yeah, I've been excited for this session for a while because I've been saying it a lot over the last 2 weeks. This one's going to be a bit different than the other ones. So, if you're wondering what the heck a Forgotten Indigo is, this is actually a pretty good point to join us.
And you can join the fan Discord, which I will drop a link
Yes.
to in chat,
Yes, indeed.
where you can see all of the shows that are currently running on twitch.tv/Stabbyness and the schedule for when they run and all that good shit.
Fantastic.
I've been told to shill more at the start of streams.
I appreciate you.
By the way, Yam,
What's up?
introduce yourself to chat, because there's a lot of folks here.
Oh, hi. I'm Yam. I'm gonna be playing Selyf today, who is a bird. The owl. The owl.
Yes.
It's owl time. Finally, after all of us cryptically like spamming owl emotes for months and months,
Yep.
we get to see him.
You get the owl payoff today.
Time.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah, chat's excited for Owl.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, like this'll be an interesting one. And hopefully we'll throw you another curveball or two over the course of the session. There's also a very important poll this time, so if you guys could take some time to answer it, I'd like to. I'd like to get a good result, so I'm counting on you this time, chat. I am trusting you with something very important.
Chat, don't kill me, please.
Don't, chat, please? Maybe?
Please.
That'd be great. Poll fear is real. I'm so sorry I've made polls a frightening thing.
It's fun. But I will say, today we might have the most frightening poll of all.
What's that?
I'll never tell. You have to see for yourself by watching Forgotten Indigo 4th Journey over on twitch.tv/Stabbyness. Subscribe, wink.
Yeah!
J-Man, that was very smooth, actually. Thank you.
But not actually, because that peaks the mic.
Okay. Well, I think it's been enough time to pretty much start, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck, Amy. Good luck,
Oh boy.
Good luck,
Goodbye, Roma.
Bye, everybody. Good luck, Amy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. It's been a long time since I've played any tabletop games, so
Oh, it'll be fine. Because, like,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
it's like I said, like, a lot of this nervousness, you're already playing a shy character. It'll be channeled into him exactly.
You know what? I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, like, this is all part of the experience. No, this is ideal. So we are going to start Forgotten Indigo 4th Journey.
Oh boy.
A train bumps along through southern windrows. It carves a sort of uneasy path through the tree lines. This area is overgrown, positively overpopulated with greenery, but the steel beast doesn't care so much. It rolls on through, no heed to the surroundings. And within this great construction stands someone. The door is thrown open at an sort of uneven rate as he braces it open with his back. He's holding a book in one hand, having just finished his meal at the break of dawn. Selyf enters the train car.
There he is.
Smite that off of you. You woke up early this morning and, like, it's kind of hard to sleep for you. After all, trains are a new thing. It's sort of this ugly, it's this ugly, like, iron box, which you think you'd be used to based on the shape of your city. Well, town. But, this one hasn't sat too well. Hard to read in this thing. So, you've sort of made do. You ate an early breakfast at the mess hall, and now it's time to walk over and find your seat. This is your first big journey out into the world.
Selyf kinda awkwardly looks around. He's not quite sure where he's supposed to go. But he's gonna wander over here and sit down by the window.
Yeah, you sort of park yourself on the bench and, like, you send up a thin layer of dust as you sit, and
Oh, gross.
you settle in. You settle in for what's going to be a completely normal ride. And you stay there for a little bit, and slowly the door on the far side of the train, like, creaks open. And, someone else wanders in. Someone you saw eating a little while ago. didn't really make much conversation or eye contact, nothing of the like, but someone with like hair appendages and an overall floofy look similar to yours wanders into the train as well.
Oh.
He wanders past and like sort of stops actually seeing you with your book. He blinks a few times. Hold on. And quickly scoots back into the last car. A few minutes later, he rushes back in, and he's holding a book actually quite similar to your own. Hey, did you drop this one? Sits down next to you. I've been keeping my eye out for lost things because, you know, trains and all that. People tend to leave stuff behind. He slides it across the bench. Though similar in nature to your book, it's completely different. This is a book on cosmic physics.
Oh, no, sorry. It's not really my area, but thank you.
Gotcha. He looks down at it. Oh, well, I guess I should take this to the conductor or something. Thanks. He, almost goes to stand up. Stops and turns around. Hold on. Looks at you. You're... Okay, this is weird for me to say, but you're not from around here, are you?
No, not really.
He stops and he's thinking hard about something. It's funny. This person who's about your height and you guess around your age, probably, has this he has this calmness to him, but the wing appendages on his head seem to be fluttering. If you had to guess, this is probably a morning person. If you're not from around here, I guess I'd ask where you're from, but that might be prying. I'm gonna do it anyway. Where are you from? Up north?
Yeah, up north. Small little place, you know.
He stops and looks at the ceiling for a second. That's, Have you been to a city before?
Nope, first time.
His little head wings, go straight down for a second. Oh boy. He scratches the back of his neck.
So it's getting a little awkward.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why this person is talking to him.
Boy, he's thinking. Kind of starts tapping his leg. Sorry, my name's Dodge, by the way. I'm...
Selyf.
Nice to meet you. I'm sorry if this is, awkward that I'm suddenly talking to you, but, I guess... Oof. My first trip to the city was pretty recent, too, and I'm still kind of reeling from it. He suddenly, sags. It's a lot to take in, and, I'm sure you'll be fine and everything, waves a hand. But at the same time, it's big, you know? He holds out his hands. Really big. Holds them further apart.
Yeah, so I've heard. Won't know till I get there, though, so...
Boy, yeah, good luck with that.
Thanks.
Gets up. Right, of course. You probably think I'm a psychopath or something.
No, it's just...
He looks at you, he goes, sorry, I'm last resort. I'm actually supposed to sort of watch out on the train for, anyone getting into trouble. Anybody who looks distressed, anybody who lost a pet, anything like that, I'm supposed to sit and hear them out. And, I'm not gonna say you look like you were in trouble, but, I kinda got the vibe.
Oh, that's okay, I get that a lot, but I'm fine. I promise.
He nods at the I'm fine, and, smiles and starts to walk off, as in the back of the train, the door slowly slides open, and two people enter the car. You look back at these two resplendent individuals as they start to worm their way up the car, and they actually stop at pretty much every single bench on their way in, and you can feel that social anxiety crawling up again just after you shook off Mothboy. They make a show of talking to everyone, and Selyf, you've already handed over your ticket. You know your plan for this. It's not like the conductors are making rounds, and God, conductors are not dressed this nicely. You overhear a snatch of conversation from the back. And would you say the amusement park is your favorite part of the city as a whole? Yeah!
I like the Ferris wheel. I get kind of scared when I'm at the top, though.
Oh, how charming. Okay. Let's take a note of the Ferris wheel. It could be a nice place to stop.
Is the view nice from up there as well?
Can we see the city in all of its resplendent glory? I
I don't know what that means. I see a lot.
It's pretty. Pretty charming. The two move on to the next bench, and you.
Selyf is sort of like eyeing them and like doing that thing where you're in class and the teacher is like, now everyone say one thing about yourself that you liked, and he's like preparing his answer.
The guy in the back kind of like looks around seeing how people are reacting to it. He's got this big, stupid, fluffy quill pen that he's like wiggling around. It's actually a little detrimental to him writing on this stack of paper because it changes the weight of which way he wants to go. He looks around. Now, nobody try and hide. We're going to be talking to all of you.
If you want to order yourselves a little bit more appropriately, that would be excellent. If you're hesitating on an answer, you may move to the front of the car. You watch as Dodge just passes you, Selyf.
Selyf stays where he is and just buries his nose in his book. Doesn't want to get up and have people look at him.
Time passes, and eventually the duo, plain as day, work their way over to the lady behind you, and you overhear most of the questions they're going to ask, and then finally they head on to you, and they lead with an entirely different question. So, how would you big eyes suddenly just at these two.
This guy kind of pushes the lady into her chair politely, just kind of motions over, and he sidles up and leans onto the back of your chair.
Selyf scrunches himself into the corner of the chair.
This man sits down next to you. Selyf, you are surrounded by a glittery and borderline oppressive presence.
Oh, great.
Hi, I have a question for you. How would you rate your overall satisfaction with the city of Indigo on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I've never been there, so,
Never been.
Never been?
And you're going today? Lucky you!
Lucky you! The two smile at you.
Yeah, yay.
Well, what drew you to the city in the first place? We have our own list of attractions that we're going to visit, but why have you chosen to come to Indigo? Now of all times.
Well, I've enrolled in the university, so school?
Ooh, a student type. Smart boy here.
A scholar. The two nod furiously. Well, I have heard rumors that the university is top-notch, second only to Snowdrop.
Only.
Ooh. Tell me, did you apply or were you invited? Selyf, you were shockingly, you didn't apply. You were extended an invitation. A rarity amongst rarities.
Oh, I was invited.
Unbelievable. Universities recruiting in this day and age. I thought students were like to bang down the doors of the various universities around the country. Interesting that Indigo finds itself capable of sending out invitations at this point in time. Your family must be quite well-to-do.
No, not really. I'm from a small place, so...
We would probably know his name if he was well-to-do.
That's a good point. They smile at each other.
They both laugh in unison. It's awful. Wonderful?
Yeah.
You're not sure. It's something, alright.
You feel emotions. Well then.
Now, what in particular are you going to study while you're there?
Archaeology? History?
Archaeology?
things.
History?
Hmm.
A true scholar's scholar, then. Nothing contemporary to take advantage of current trends. Very respectable. I've heard rumors about the history department of Indigo, admittedly. I heard they lost their head professor 2 years ago. I don't know what state it's in now, but perhaps you should focus on archaeology instead of history.
Lest you become a part of it, maybe. Does that you mean? Sometimes I think we're too mean.
I'll keep it in mind.
That's acceptable, I suppose. And,
Well, I guess not many of the questions on this. You can't answer most of these, I suppose.
Oh, how
I have an
awful.
idea. How about we change the name of the town, start scribbling on it? We'll change it. So this is for your town, and we can compare it to what other people think about Indigo. What do you think of that?
How
Is that
delightful.
biased at all?
I think that's a brilliant idea, brother.
Now, young man, where did you say you were from? Little town? Is it called Little Town? I think I've heard of a few of those.
Your hometown is this, it's the small circular construction called nothing more complex than Nest. It's just Nest.
Nest? Just Nest.
Which one?
Eastern Nest?
North? Nest?
Oh, so the one that's south of Nest.
Yeah.
Brother, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Honestly, it's not very interesting. I'm not sure how I can.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your satisfaction? Is that like a 4?
They both fold their hands and lean in simultaneously. It's awful.
Selyf is really like burrowing down now, like really into his feathers. He's kind of shivering a little. 7?
Ooh, a 7. Ooh.
That's a passing grade where some people come from.
Oh, we're so.
Yeah, my family's there, so it's not that bad.
Family is important. Family does add a few ticks, a few levels to this. Okay, 7. All right.
Hey guys. Someone from a further down car yells back. Hi,
Selyf looks him in the eye desperately.
Yeah, he smiles at you and kind of winks. What's the holdup? The rest of us are kind of excited to fill out our surveys. It sounds really exciting.
I'm sure we can come back to little Nest Boy. You'll still be here, I assume.
We'll be back, of course.
We'll be back.
They smile at you and move on.
They ooze away like a golden molasses. They encroach on this person next.
Time passes, and yeah, they the pair eventually work their way down through the car, and they go from person to person, and it's weird. You notice they are rather curt compared to the special attention they paid to you, to everyone following, especially to this man, before they move on to the next car. The second the door opens and slowly closes behind them as they enter the dining car, Mothboy once again stands up, kind of sits down. You doing okay?
Selyf has deflated a little, so he nods and goes, yeah, thanks for the
The woman behind, thank you.
He blushes. I'm bad in situations like that, so I kind of just figure, how would I like to be helped? He looks down for a second. I kind of think they're serious about coming back. Like, you might want to hide somewhere.
Oh my god. Okay. yeah, okay, thank you.
How long are you on this train, by the way? Dodge gets up. Selyf, you, oh boy. The condition of your train ticket was kind of odd. Your entire town pulled everything together to get you a ticket to Indigo. Unfortunately, it couldn't quite cover the entirety of your trip. Your journey stops one station short of the city, and unfortunately, you have to walk the rest of the way. Everyone in your town assured you would be fine, you just follow your map. It's about a 6-hour walk, not too much trouble, but the train carried you most of the way. Hell, you've been on this train or other trains for days at this point.
Well, I'm getting off at the stop just before Indigo.
Oh.
So, soon, I hope?
Yeah, good luck. He waves and starts to walk away. Then stops on his heel again and turns around. You're headed to the city, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Are you, like, getting a ride? Is somebody picking you up?
No. Just walking. That's okay, I have snacks.
he smiles for a second at the, it's okay, I have snacks, and then just, like, calculating in his head. Oh, boy. Okay, if you're gonna walk, and like a lot of people do, there's nothing wrong with it, the Illman family is taking control of the train lines around town, and, like, ticket prices have spiked. If you're gonna walk, take it easy, okay? Like, don't try to do it all in one day. That's how you get caught out there. He's scratching his chin. Yeah, hold on, this is awkward again. He, like, motions back to the bench. Can we sit down? I think we're making a scene in the middle of the train. A lot of people are looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two sheepishly sit down again. Well, it's like this. I lived in a little town called Hearth, just out in the middle of nowhere. It's a nothing town. Everybody else in my town moved away, but I was part of a last resort chapter there. My job primarily was finding people who got lost out in the woods at night. You'd be shocked at the number of people who try to brave the not in frontier just on their own. If you're gonna try walking it, I'd recommend taking your sweet time, finding a place to bunker down for the night and, like, holding up there, because nights in this province are not kind. He's like, he looks actually deadly serious at you for a split second.
Okay. Can I ask why?
Well, I hear they're giant creatures, but to me they're just normal-sized creatures because they're all I really know. There are big things that wander around, and the second dusk hits, they start to come out. So, best thing to do is find a building, lock the door, chill out overnight, take it easy. Oh, right, of course, duh. He, reaches into his own pack and, like, starts to futz around. He pulls out a very, very worn map and actually hands it over to you. If you need to find any of the last resort chapter houses, like, they're all over this place. Here, he points to one. Between the station we're dropping you off on and Indigo, there's actually a, there's one that I've used in the past. It's a little off the beaten path, but you settle down there for the night, nothing'll get you. Please don't go out at night. He similarly deflates. I have a lot of memories of search and rescue operations.
Okay. I appreciate the advice.
He
I'll
smiles
probably
at
take off on
that. He smiles at that and his little, head wings begin to, flutter again. Of course, glad to help out. I'm moving into the city myself. I'll be in there probably for, I don't know how long. Oof. If you ever need help, just look me up. My name's Dodge. I work for the Pomme de Terre Detective Agency. And I guess I've gotten...
Potato?
He blinks. Oh, wow. Huh. He looks down. Yeah, that is what that means, huh?
It's an old
I won't
Erusian
judge, but
term.
Yes. He stands up again. Oh, right. Crap. The door in front slowly slides and opens, and he kind of motions with his head like, maybe go to the other cars.
Selyf is running. Okay.
Selyf, you make it into this car back here, and this appears to be some sort of it's like a private car. You hit this one wall, and you know your luggage actually is in the very back because you've stowed it there yourself. It's your big bag full of all of the things that you brought along back from Nest. And that looked fairly secluded. However, you didn't factor in this very fancy looking car, actually. The rest of the train is kind of worn and beaten down. This one's covered in some sort of purplish paneling. It looks kind of nice.
So Selyf is a little nervous again because he believes he's wandered into first class, and he doesn't want to get yelled at for being where he's not supposed to be, so... He's gonna go very slowly this way.
You very, very slowly work your way through this car, and as you do so, the train bumps again, and the atmosphere sort of changes. As you pass this car, specifically the door, you almost feel transfixed for a second. The inside, despite what the map might tell you, is actually quite dark. However, your eyes illuminated clear as day.
I have dark vision.
You have dark vision. You get to be the one this campaign. And you feel almost a shocking sense of danger. Your feathers stand on end as something looks back at you from the darkness. This overwhelming, forceful power, a stare that could punch through anything. And...
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? Oh, fuck this! Or I keep walking.
You leave that room behind.
Which is probably for the best.
Yeah, that is the smartest thing you could possibly do.
I know what I'm looking at when I see it.
Selyf, you feel this presence, this weight, and you're just like, nope, nah, bye-bye. Later. Stomp, 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 stomp. You leave the car behind with the vivid memory of that man's eyes in your head. You relax back in the final car of the train. Amongst all the luggage, which has been tied down at various points, you find your big pack, and like it contains all the just adorable gifts, frankly, that all the townsfolk gave you. Seeing you off to the university was one of their points of pride. Like, it's so rare that someone from your town is called to be a member of, well, God, the higher education, the upper class, etc., in your home province is something that's considered walled off to the common folk. It's something that's considered beyond reach. And
the first to leave the nest, so to speak.
yes, some would say. And those people that you met earlier were clearly nobles from your home province, and you could smell it, you could feel it, etc. You, however, you are your town's hope. That you can basically drive ahead, that you can change the lot in life that you were given. You've been invited to the prestigious Indigo University, free of charge. Something that is damn near unheard of. And as you open that pack, you start to look through like a small doll made of your likeness. It's a pudgy little owl that is like more pillow than like something opposable. But it was made by one of your neighbors for you, and you dig deeper, you find a hand-bound journal, you find a collection of feathers that makes up a positively gorgeous quill. It's these possessions. For most people, this is just their luggage. You presume probably not the rich folks' luggage, but for them it's just clothes, etc., etc. For you, it's like you're carrying your entire town on your back with you. And just holding this gives you a sense of warmth. I'm going to give you a gift related to this luggage, by the way.
What is it?
It is basically, yeah,
Gift of gifts!
You are already going to start off with a pretty potent gift that allows you to pretty much look through this for an object from your hometown whenever it is relevant. So it is a miscellany pulling thing, like I need this, but also this reminds you of home, calms your mind, and restores your health.
Aw.
You spend probably the rest of your journey bouncing along in that back car as the train drives itself ever onward towards your destination. It's a little awkward, of course, when you finally arrive. You show them your ticket. You insist you're not a stowaway. That is clarified, and you manage to miss encountering the two noblemen and the one in the room again. The last person you see on your way off the train is Dodge, just checking out stuff again. He waves and sees you off at Sunflower Station. Let me drop you over here. And after a short time, it rattles away.
All right.
And you arrive, you see a woman over here selling lemonade. This section of the country is it's so different than what you're used to. Like, you're used to those vaunted peaks and that deep, deep snow. This is just nice. It's dusty. There's sunflowers everywhere, but it's nice.
Nice and warm. There's a slight breeze. The air is very flowery.
You feel kind of comforted. Like, heck, you might get used to this. You feel less cold than usual.
Wow, that's nice. That's a first. Oh. That's good enough to set him in some good spirits then.
Yep, all you gotta do is follow your map. Your villagers said it'd be easy, but, well, Dodge said it'd be a little more complicated than that.
I just need to follow the map, I guess.
With uncertain steps, you leave the station, and you see immediately to your left a gorgeous,
Hang on.
slightly garish tent. and someone standing in front of it. Bent over, they appear to be packing up their goods for another trip.
3, 4.
Selyf kind of peeks at him, but doesn't
7.
really want to make it obvious.
Where is the 7? I thought I put that there. No. Why have you run away from me, number 7? Oh.
Selyf, you feel an overwhelming energy from this person.
Oh no, did I drop it in the grass? Oh. Oh, there
Are
it is.
you okay?
Okay. I found it!
Okay, he's okay.
Hello?
Okay. Oh, hello, hello.
Where's 8? Oh god.
You watch as this man wilts in front of you.
He is holding a small rock in his hand, and it appears he is looking for another small rock amongst these small rocks and grass.
Are you okay?
I will be if I find this. Say, okay, you have sharp eyes. Can you help me, please? I'll pay you.
No, that's not necessary. What is it you're looking for?
Calm down. Okay. I'm looking for one of my crystals. I lined them up, and I guess I must have bumped into the table while I was busybodying about, and I knocked one over. Or somebody might have stolen it from me, but let's just go with the idea that that's not what happened.
Well, has anyone been by?
Yes, a few. A couple people. More than yesterday.
Selyf, as you watch, it's funny. You're used to seeing this sometimes. In a very rare moment, during an intense burst of emotion, during just a singular point where somebody is so focused in on a feeling, you can almost see that feeling hanging in the air. But for this person, it's popping around him like fireworks. You see it every few seconds, and then it fades from your vision.
Okay.
Okay, so
He
this
doesn't
one
comment.
This one's kind of, looks at the case. Number 8, yes, okay. Number 8 is purplish, darker purplish, almost the same purple as this. Not as shiny as the material, it's more opaque,
Okay. Selyf puts his luggage down and kind of peers around.
Okay. So, you can give me a roll to do. So you click your character and just hit do, because I believe you have an attribute that works so comically well for this, it's silly.
Would that be my yellow, I guess?
That would be your yellow. In this case, you just hit that roll to do. You don't have a swing equipped, so you just hit the do button, and yep, that'll be that.
All right.
Oh my god!
Wow.
That is just how it happens sometimes.
Wow. We'll get him over with.
Selyf, this is what happens. It isn't like you completely fail to see the thing or you somehow obliterate it from existence with your laser beam eyes. It is like that you start off like, oh, okay, I can help this person, I can find this thing. And then it becomes that same form of irritation when you can't find your car keys or something and you're like, God, I thought I just saw it, hold on. And you wind up spending way more time than you could ever expect just being like, wait, hold on, is that it? You hold it up, he says no. This goes on and on and on for a while.
He gets invested.
Yeah.
After a
They're
while.
just like
So
on their
invested.
hands and knees rummaging through the grass. A couple of times he gets a bug on him and is like, oh, but of course, one of those wonderful cherubic little children must have thrown it into the flowers. I don't have time for this, Clamia. You have to go. You have things to do. You have plans to travel. You have to go. It's just number 8. Oh, but it's number 8.
No,
Finally.
it's fine. We'll find it. It's fine. Here, I'll look.
I'm sorry. What is your name?
Selyf.
Thank you, Selyf. Even if we do not find it, I will name number 9 after you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Glamier. Normally I'm not this covered in snot. He's lying. He's lying.
Pleasure. Okay, let's find that rock.
Okay.
You spend another 10 minutes and finally Selyf, you're like, oh my god, it was back here. Someone threw it all the way back
Somebody
here.
throw it under the train track.
Like, it didn't quite make it under the train tracks. It's like here. It could have rolled.
You get covered in pollen, and a couple of the sunflowers like bap you on the way over.
Selyf, you have a sunflower in your hair now.
He doesn't notice. I found it, I think! Is this it? Please let this be it, please.
Purple, dark, little bitch. You found it, my boy!
Ah,
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you! He begins sparkling. He positively blossoms. His posture changes completely.
you're welcome. Just no trouble. Easy.
Lemmy thinks to himself, it was a lot of trouble. It wasn't easy, but we have it.
Selyf, you're puffed up with pride, though. You feel good about that.
Yeah, I got double ones and still found it. Take that.
Alright, careful now. Step out. Don't want to get hit with more flowers.
Okay. What time is it?
Do
you know?
He runs over, looks at this strange apparatus on his desk that he's about to fold up.
It's like, I'd say it's like probably a little past 1.
Yeah.
You've been
Afternoon
here.
just passed.
You've been here for like an hour.
Time to pack up. Time to go.
He's a little perturbed it took that long, but it's fine. He still has plenty of daylight. That's enough time to get to the place before dark. It's fine. Okay, well, I should get going as well.
He stands back, looks at it, kind of nods, tilts his head one side, tilts his head the other. Okay, young man, maybe cover your eyes, turn away, or shield your eyes, or something. I don't know. He hands on his hip,
Okay.
stretches out his hands. Okay. All my luggage squared away. Oh, but you have so much luggage.
That's fine.
Here, I'll
I
carry a
got it.
little bit of it for you. Are you going this way, that way? I'll go with you. Doesn't matter. I'll go. You're going in any direction. I suppose I have to go in a direction too.
Are you sure?
Am I allowed to follow you? Is that okay?
No, you are, but
Oh, no, I could go.
okay. Let's go then.
What a nice young man.
Selyf, you find yourself accompanied by, someone you didn't exactly expect on this journey, but he seems nice. You travel for a time. Over narrowly sloping hills, just this easy arcs, dotted with sunflowers on either side. Someone's built fences to hold back the overgrowth, but you can tell. If those weren't there, the sunflowers would spill over the road and immediately reclaim it.
Is the sunflower still in his hair, by the way?
Yes!
Okay. He doesn't notice.
And you travel down the road with your friend? Accomplice? Traveling partner.
Let me tell you, that lemonade, ooh, excellent, wonderful. I feel bad, I actually drank quite a bit of it yesterday, and that nice young lady had to skedaddle off, and I paid for it, of course, I'm a thief, but, She had to go home after walking all that way with her lemonade.
Selyf, you scuttle ahead, like nodding along, and you see, immediately to your right, actually a pretty big wagon stuck in an even bigger hole. Damn it. Oh, whatever. This little old lady climbs up and sits down on the side of it, and then looks at you. Hi,
Hi. Are you, stuck?
Yeah, I'm waiting for any sort of assistance. I hear the Last Resort operates somewhere from nearby. She mumbles.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I'm actually heading to one of their outposts right now.
Oh. Please tell them to come back and help me. I'm trying to catch a train. It's at 3. I left early, but like, what are you going to do? She jumps down and like, you finally notice the size of the hole in the ground. It's it doesn't appear to be caused by erosion or like it doesn't appear to be caused by like, I don't know, anyone intentionally digging either. This is a very, very straight down, like deep hole, and the closer you look at it, you start to see almost burn marks around the inside. You remember reading about this. During the 1 Week War, the south of Windrose was shelled pretty heavily by Lancia. If you had to guess, this is actually a mortar wound punched into the earth.
Huh. Selyf takes a closer look at it. It's a little fascinated.
You, as you look, you try to like, you try to look around the wagon, and admittedly that makes it slightly difficult. But deep within the hole, despite that war being from so damn long ago, there appears to be fresh shining metal still within. Probably the remnants of whatever they fired at this place.
Well, it looks pretty deep. But yeah, I'll be sure to send someone after. As soon
She
as we get
smiles
there.
at you.
What time is it now?
It's they probably they might have time. Based on the distance that you're traveling, like you've only shortly left the station. But they might have enough time to help her get her card out if you send a few people over. She smiles at you. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I was planning on maybe running ahead to the station and seeing if anyone over there was willing to help me.
Well, this is a very, very helpful and nice young man named Selyf, and he helped me, so I'm going to return the favor, and I'll at least stick around to give you company until they show up, because there's not much I can actually do for you here.
Oh, that's charming. You seem sweet. Both of you. She takes a step backwards and hops up on the cart again. Oh, you seemed interested in the hole. Looking at Selyf.
Yeah, there seems to be something down there. I guess the remains of a shell or something.
Well, you keep going on this road and you'll see a whole lot more of that.
Yes, Selyf, you wouldn't mind if I did stay here and, you know...
I mean, you weren't forced to come with me in the first place.
Oh, but I wanted to, but...
I know, but I'm just saying...
I'm sure I'll run into you again, because I mean... I wander all over the place. I meet tons of people. Yes, of course.
Selyf just nods.
I'll be honest, I mostly just don't really want to go too far down this road because I was actually supposed to go in the opposite direction, but there's a town kind of further down there, and he nods his head toward the crater on the ground there, and there's a lot more of that there, and I get a little overwhelmed, you know?
Oh, no, completely understandable. It's fine.
It's a lot. The old lady says.
It's a nice town, though. I went through there once. I was like, oh, I basically ran through. It was very pretty, but it is a nice town from what I've heard from other people.
She nods at you.
Well-
Watch your step. The sunflowers have moved in, and there are craters everywhere.
All right. Well, thank you. I was planning on going this way alone anyway, so it's no trouble.
Good
thank you
fortune
for
on
the-
your journey.
Thank you.
You will not be alone. He turns around, rummages in a tiny little like knapsack thing he has. Okay. 7.
Oh.
8. 8. 8 will be going with you. He hands you the rock. He clasps it in your hands and pats your hand. You can take it, I mean.
He's not quite sure what to think about that, but he's a little touched nonetheless.
Yeah,
thank you.
You feel like you just received something extremely precious. Maybe not precious to you on first glance, but you can sort of sense the emotion that's put into this. This will also be a gift.
Selyf is quite familiar with those. Small precious things and gifts.
Aw.
Thank you. Thank you again. Well, bye.
See you.
You walk away waving to this to the pair as they wave back in the distance. It's funny, you weren't ready for the world to have quite this much character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, nothing happens in Nest.
It's like everything that you're encountering is extremely textured and you're used to that snowy white, so it's overwhelming, but at the same time, like, kind of pleasant in its own way. That being
nice.
said, as you head down the road, the quiet starts to set in, and you can feel the dip in energy as you lose your traveling companion. He, despite just meeting him today, he brought a lot of, how do I put this? Despite being one person, he brought a lot of company. And as you move through those sunflowers, you start to feel the loneliness set in, and your journey continues. You pick up your pack and you head down the road. And eventually you arrive in a small town that doesn't oh boy, it doesn't have any sort of demarcation, no signs, no nothing. The best you could find is something sketched in the dirt. It's the name that all the locals give it, and it's something that, well, you wouldn't exactly know, but at the same time you can feel the history behind this name. This is the town of Yellow. And you walk in. Amidst the silence, and the calm rolls over you. No one lives in this place, not anymore, but you can still feel the history of it.
And this boy does love history.
He certainly does. You look around, the sunflowers crowding in on all sides. The buildings are burned out and overwhelmed by the foliage. And those train tracks immediately to your left, while they look in good repair, looking down, they end in an ugly hole, burnt into the ground, a scar punched through this town. You can tell not many people come this way. Not anymore. Not quite sure how, but you can feel it. The life that used to be here and the life that's now missing. And Selyf, as you walk, your eyes focus in on something that isn't there, something immaterial hanging in the air. And you blink once. And then for a moment, you see it. This entire town, though it might be dead, is very much alive with color. There are memories here, the same history that you love so damn much. And it's twisting and turning all around you, speaking with voices that can't be heard but that can be seen. Then you blink again, and it's gone.
I hadn't had that happen in a while. He's wondering if it might be safe to stay here rather than go all the way
To the
Blossom
next.
Forge.
Ooh,
But,
that is an interesting question.
then he remembers his promise to the old lady and decides better.
Yeah, you make it to the end of this pathway, and the cobblestone sort of just abruptly ends, overcome by the dirt, and yeah, there's just a maze of sunflowers immediately in front of you. You gotta move past this point, and your choices are through the burnt out ditch, the last remains of one of those mortar shells, or through the field of sunflowers. You have a flashback to the train station.
I think he's a bit sick of sunflowers. Plus, he wants to see one of those metal things.
Ooh, excellent.
He moves towards the ditch and sees if it is steep going down. It's actually safe to go down there.
It's a little steep, but you feel pretty safe climbing down. It's like great.
Can
It's
he, like, slide?
Yeah, he could slide in. Getting out might be a little hard, but like, yeah, you can get down there nice and easy.
He thinks about the stuff in his pack.
Yeah.
Nothing in there is too delicate, except maybe that quill. And I do have that extra pair of clothes, in case those get dirty. Okay. And he goes.
Selyf, you slide down into the ditch, and unlike up in the town, you don't feel the weight of the memories of this place, this burnt out crater. You feel an emptiness. It's strange. It's like you just walked into a room, unfurnished, and you feel like if you yelled at this moment, your voice would bounce off all the walls, despite this being a crater that could barely, like, you're taller than this thing almost. This is the type of bomb that this was probably caused some sort of widespread damage. You start to look around, and you see that same metal substance. You gonna take any of it?
Well, let's look at it first.
Ooh, excellent. So, you pick up a shard of metal. Looking down at it, you see it's like this part seems to be some sort of outside casing. It's sort of bent slightly, either warped by heat or the explosion. This shrapnel was likely meant to carry some sort of payload. But on the surface of it, contained within, almost like dew on a leaf, are tiny drops of what appear to be liquid metal that still run despite its age, because after all, this was years and years ago, 27 years ago. But this metal still moves like it's freshly heated.
Fascinating. I think maybe he will take just the one.
Excellent. You've got proper containment like stuff. You are an archaeologist. If you want a vial, if you want like some sort of plastic box, I will just give you that free. Selyf has it. This is what he's passionate about.
Okay. He sticks it in one of those and tucks it safe, probably wraps it around like a sock or something.
Perfect. You contain the mystery metal and put it away, something to study later. Hell, maybe tonight. And you crawl your way up and out of the crater and continue on your way. There's still journey to be had, and while you're close to your destination for tonight at least, you're worried about the rapidly sinking sun. As you leave this crater, you see a blown out wall with a big stone creature sitting behind it. It almost looks like a statue, but something about it just seems so forlorn that you keep moving, unable to approach even a step closer. And you wind up back on the road.
Excellent.
That was a really good scene, by the way. Fantastic work.
Thanks.
You keep going, and the sunflowers thin. The area around Yellow apparently being some sort of haven for them. But in the distance, you see the foliage re-thicken. You see the grass grow lush, and it becomes more like the south than you remember. Less the beautiful yellow sloping hills and more that thick underbrush again. And immediately in front of you, Selyf, you see a fence dividing this area from that. And defaced over whatever name that town used to have, and whatever name that town has in the distance, are 2 words: Journey Forth. And with that, we are going to take a break. As Selyf crosses this line. Oh boy! Good work so far. Thank you so much, Civ.
Thank you, Jay!
I love co-GMing with you. This is our midpoint break. As Selyf enters the city limits of Indigo, we shift over. Thank you so much for doing everything. That was fantastic. Also, Amy, you're killing it.
Thank you.
So cute! He's so
Selyf is so cute!
He's doing his best.
Oh my god. So, everyone, right now is your best time to use the bathroom, etc., etc. I am going to set the longest poll I ever have, and everyone thank Civ and say goodbye.
Thank you, Sid.
Bye.
Okay.
Good luck in the big city!
Salutes. There we go.
Oh.
Ah,
You did great.
You did
Thank
so
you.
good.
this is fun.
Yeah, you're doing so good.
Ah.
I'm gonna be right back 'cause I use the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I'll take first shift. Chat, how are you enjoying stuff? I hope you're enjoying this revisit to Windrose and Windrose's tone.
Oh, I just saw something got updated. Oh,
Ooh.
whoever did that, thank you.
Okay.
My ass off necessary.
Mask, you are. Oh, you're so good. Holy shit.
Required by law.
So, our poll for tonight. I'm sure this is the moment. Oh, first, Disarder, thank you so much. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the poll to determine the future of this session. Once again, a very important one. Drumroll, please. If this were a Fire Emblem game, what weapon should Selyf use? Everybody vote.
You're not allowed to say tomes.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
not allowed
that's
to.
too
Tomes
easy.
are banned. Too easy. I want something from the classic weapon triangle or a bow. That is the question for tonight. I bet you were expecting something big and scary. No, not this time.
I will be right back. I'm gonna grab
Of course.
a bar or something.
Refuel.
Oh my god. I'm excited. That was so sweet. Holy shit.
So good. Oh, you and Civ are so damn
Aw.
good. That was so wondrous. Oh. Amy's doing great too.
Yeah, Amy's fucking killing it.
Hell yes. Oh god, I'm so excited for this upcoming part too. Like, it's gonna be so good, you guys.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a fun one. This is the most prologue-y prologue, if that makes sense. Like, this one I think this one will very naturally lead into the events of the series, so yes.
Oh right, it's break time, so that's time for mid-session shilling.
Mid-session chilling, yeah.
Woo!
Perfect, just in time for us to go all grossly commercial.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. I'm gonna use the bathroom now. Please chill.
Yes, absolutely, can do. Immediate, yes, so, shilling, well, that's a thing we know how to do. So, you can join the Stabbyness fan Discord. That's where all the information for all the shows ever is. That's on this channel. There's Forgotten Indigo, there's 13th God, there's so often, like, casual live streams of folks playing games. It's good stuff, a lot of good people. Bless you, Aloha, for having the link. You are a hero. And you can also get schedules for everything that goes on during the week. And then there is the Windrose Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
The Windrose Patreon is where you can toss a coin to your Indigo goers.
And what do you get for donating to the Windows Patreon, Mask?
Well, you can get all sorts of fun shit. For example, a certain access to the World Anvil page that has all the information on all the characters that the players have encountered in Forgotten Indigo so far. One of the tiers is the Play Along tier, where you get to see everything the players do.
Mm-hmm.
Get to know the secrets.
Yeah!
No secret, you can see
It's
Selyf's.
pricey.
Yeah, you can see Selyf's crazy gift.
It's some good shit. If you're interested in the mechanics, it's great. Also on the Windrose Patreon, you can download the current build of the system. You don't even have to pay for that. It's just the system that's used in this game. It's made entirely by Jay. He's been working on it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, and you can download the current version of the rules for the current version on the Patreon as well. Let's see. We've also shout out to all of our artists who've been giving us great art for.
Yep. There's a lot of them, so I'll just say.
Doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of them right now. So if you want to see the list, just go to the World Anvil. We have a whole list of everyone who's contributed art so far. So check that out.
Yes. I also have a Patreon, Chris, and I don't really do anything with that, but it's there. If you want to throw money my way, I tend to throw it back into other creators' Patreons. So that's what you're funding if you fund me, I guess.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Finally, I am. Oh yes. I need to shill the other series that I am in, which is Lost Times. It's set in a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure style setting. It's most Fridays, and everyone in it is really good. That's over on Clockwork Grunt Twitch. So, and I think that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you shill your Patreon, Mask?
Yes.
I did! I don't have a link or anything, though, so...
Did
Somebody
you shill
already
your
posted.
coffee, Mask?
Oh!
Where you can request, you can say a word, and Mask will draw you a pretty dragon.
It's the best. I have
best.
gotten
I'll
dragons before. They're so good.
Similarly, if you want all the links to that, they are already on the World Anvil artist page. People don't need to stress about doing that.
Ooh, smart. Yeah, no, hit that shit up. Amy, I just gotta say it again. You're fucking killing it. Selyf is the best.
Thank you.
Oh man.
I'm having fun.
Yes,
That's the
excellent. That's the goal. That's the dream. Okay, so, without any further ado, are you guys ready to keep on keeping on?
Mm-hmm.
We still have 5 minutes left on the poll. I'll tackle that probably during a loading screen. So,
Yeah.
whew, right back
Keep
into
this
it.
fair, I have not voted.
Fine, here's my Kofi.
Super legit.
Cat being bullied. I'm
So-
being oppressed.
right back to it. So, Selyf, you cross the line of the technical Indigo city limits, and the vibe shifts in the air. You see a lot of black lilies on either side. Flowers are a new concept to you, I say, with the sunflower just pressed into your hair.
Yeah, those things are sticky. He had no idea.
You haven't quite seen any like this before. But what immediately draws your attention is this thing down here. It seems to be a similar statue of the variety you saw earlier, but this one sits in the middle of the grass with flowers growing all over it, vines entwining through its joints, and it sits with palm outstretched with a single flower growing in its open palm.
How quaint.
And then you see another one. And you see another one up there. Oh, wait, there's a person up there. Hold on.
Indeed.
You see this girl up here who appears to be digging around the dirt, and this fucking big-ass stone thing just yoinks it out of the ground and just sit to the side over here.
Thump. It rests against the ground with an ugly thunk.
She continues to dig.
She's making a shocking amount of progress. Like a lot of progress.
When she tosses the stone over, Selyf kind of winces a little, thinking it might be delicate in certain places, and kind of doesn't really want to disturb her, but kind of gets on his tiptoes and peers to see if it's damaged.
Roll me a d20, see if you make enough noise.
Oh, do you have any attribute that might assist you with this roll?
Oh boy, do I.
You sure do! You are... God, okay.
Okay, so this is just to do?
Yeah, this is a roll to do. Nothing's made you die yet, so you're just good to keep rolling do.
Okay, no bonus or anything?
No bonus or anything.
Let's go. One day I'll roll good.
It's better than last time.
I mean, everything is better.
Literally anything is better than last time, but you can only go up.
Yeah.
True.
When you walk by, you think you're being a little stealthy. In fact, you get pretty close, but then you when you walk over here, there appears to be just some random ass sticks that probably fell out of this bramble over here, and you step on one, making just the most generic cliche
Crack.
Yeah. And immediately upon that happening, this girl's ears point up, her wings shoot straight out, and she just quickly turns around. Who's there?
Nobody!
Both of you, feathers on end, startle each other.
Oh, hello, you?
Hi!
What are, you doing, sneaking up on me?
I'm not. I'm just walking by. What are you doing?
I'm digging for artifacts.
Oh? What kind?
All kinds of kinds. The spooky kind, the crazy kind, the kind that makes you go mad. I just need to get some, then I need to make a trade. Watch, hold on. She continues to dig in this spot for a sec, and then she yoinks out what appears to be a perfectly, a perfect steel cube at first glance. It's like this type of thing.
Selyf walks over a bit unashamedly and peers at it.
As you get closer,
Look at the cube!
when you look at the cube separates into 4 different sections, and you see 4 small holes in the intersecting points, and those holes just go and spit out goo.
What?
And then the goo just retracts back into the cube and it seals back up. Yeah, see, a weird spooky artifact thing.
Hang on. He kind of reaches for it. Will she let him have it?
Yeah, sure. She'll hand it to him.
Yeah, he fiddles with it. He's never seen anything like this before, and he has no idea what it could be for.
He stares at you while you're staring at it.
He's poking.
Yeah, you both sit there and start poking at the cube. Like, it takes some time, but you figure out whatever mechanism starts to unlatch the cube to unleash the goo, and after a little while you can reliably get it to do that thing. You're wondering why, mostly.
Fancy. She takes the cube back and puts it into her sack and starts digging again. So, what brings you out here?
Oh, I'm just heading to the outpost that's close by. Is there more of those? Like, do you just find these regularly?
Oh yeah, sure, it's real easy to find them. You just gotta kind of feel it out, you know? Like, watch, hold on. She walks a few steps over here.
Selyf does kind of know.
Then she starts digging in the ground again. Then she pulls out what appears to be like a staff. And then she's like, yeah, see, like you just kind of find these things everywhere here, especially like on the like weird in between borders for some reason. I don't know why. There's like here a lot. People tend to dig around here like just a ton to like dig up treasures. And like as she says that, the staff like starts unfurling into 4 like long strands.
Selyf is just amazed. He's kind of turning into a little nerd boy right now with shiny eyes.
Oh, right. This is very rude of me. Sorry. What is your name?
Oh, Selyf.
Ah, nice to meet you. I'm Heil.
Nice to meet you. So you come out here often? Do you have any inclination of perhaps the history of this place? Or wait, you found those under that stone? We're not grave robbing, are we?
Well,
that is something you have to consider.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I haven't considered that, but I don't think so. You see,
Are you sure?
No. But you see,
Well,
I think we're in the clear, mostly because, well, those guys up there are doing it. So I don't see why I can't do it.
well, that's not really a good... Listen. It's really important to know where these things came from and the context and... I'm getting a bad feeling is what I'm saying.
Look, it's
It is
fine.
very interesting though.
I'm doing this for months, and so far nobody's yelled at me about it. I kinda gotta do this, part of my job, you know? Like, I just gotta feel it out and dig up more and more stuff so I can trade it into Arch over at the pawn shop. And, she starts digging here again and pulls out a book. Yep, there's another one. Puts it inside her bag.
You watch in partial awe as this girl just wanders along, stuffs her hand in the ground, and pulls out something cursed.
Partial awe, partial horror because of the whole removal
Potential-
aspect.
Yeah.
Potential damaging of the history. He's torn.
He continues to shuffle around while you're sitting there contemplating.
He's starting to think that he should leave and maybe revisit this idea once he's in Indigo and can maybe ask a history teacher or the archaeological head or something, if there is such one.
So, are you looking for something? Or, are you just hanging out here?
Well, no, I was just on my way. Sorry
yeah?
to disturb you.
Where are you
It was
headed?
nice meeting you, Belle. To the outpost that's supposed to be close
Oh.
to here.
If you're looking for the outpost, it's up there.
Up there.
Up there.
He
You
looks
look
at his map. Is it in fact up there?
you double check the map, and like that does appear to actually be like, you look at it, you look at the path in front of you, you look at the charted map on your path on your map, and this is the path that you're supposed to take. But you look down that way, and it seems to be a more direct route, actually.
I know all the ins and outs of getting everywhere real fast, you see. You see, over in good old Indigo, I'm the one and only male person there, so I kinda gotta know how to get everywhere extremely fast. If you need something delivered, I can deliver it. You need something found, I can find it.
I see. He thinks about the old lady and his friend back in the ditch, thinking they would probably like help sooner than later. What does the road ahead of him look like?
Which one? This
The-
left or top?
Top.
Top, it's like
That.
a little it's a little muddy, but like you could probably walk it nice and easy. It actually kind of looks nice because you've been walking on road that has rocks pretty frequently, and that looks soft.
Is it clear?
It's clear,
like,
yeah.
Is there any like woods or cliffs or something? It's just mud?
Just mud.
Well, just mud is no big deal. He already rolled in a ditch, so. Alright. Well, thank you for the tip.
No
I'm
problem.
in a hurry, so.
By the way, I happen to see you have a lot of packages on you. Do you need something delivered?
No, I'm fine. I kind of need most of the stuff that's in here, so, thank you for the offering, though.
Oh, well, alright, I guess I gotta get going too. I do gotta get my job. She waits, she thinks to herself for a second, looks inside of her pouch, pulls out a cloth thing. You notice that the cloth thing she's holding weirdly is in the shape of a gun. Thinks herself, oh, I'm gonna be late, I gotta go!
Okay, bye. Just sort of turns around and keeps walking.
Selyf, for some reason this incident sticks out in your head, mostly because you haven't seen anyone capable of reaching into the dirt and pulling out archaeological fragments quite so easily, and you keep thinking
Oh,
about that, and you're
Oh,
like,
wait, before
Oh.
before he goes, since she's gone, he looks into the hole again and see
Oh.
if there's anything left.
Yeah, you start to dig around and like poking through this hole. It appears to be, you're not quite sure why this exact spot had so much stuff in it, but she's sort of right, and like after digging for a little bit, you start to like pull out something. It's another box, and you're worried this cube might produce slime as well. Relatively small, just like rectangular, almost the size of like, I don't know, size of your forearm.
Okay. He looks at it, holds it in his hand, and has a very serious conversation with himself. This could belong to a very nice dead person. Or it could just be lying here. Okay, he makes a decision. He rifles through one of his packs and pulls out one of his journals, and he jots down as much as he can about the surroundings, like the kind of dirt it came from, some of the things he remembers that came up with it, just like the area, does little sketches so he can get as much of the context as possible, and he closes his book and takes the cube with him and puts it all in his pack, promising that if it turns out to be important, that he will put it back.
Fantastic. You take the cube and you start to walk off down that road she pointed out, and you start to comprehend, I guess, what was going through her bird brain at that exact moment. You unlocked one of the weird qualifications for this, so I'm going to just drop this for you. You feel closer to the male girl. Mostly because you now understand what she does and why she does it.
Excellent.
And you walk down a dirt path. Eventually, winding up in the deep woods. Immediately in front of you is the outpost that you've been recommended to, but what you didn't expect is all the people here.
Oh. Many.
There's a lot of people here.
Well, that's fine.
They're moving around carrying actual, like, bags of dirt and stuff.
Selyf tries to keep out of their way.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello. What exactly are you doing here? Are you with the company? You don't appear to be dressed for it.
No, I'm just a traveler. I'm on my way to Indigo. I was told that there was an outpost that I could rest at for the night.
Oh, yes. I suppose that's technically accurate. He stands there, the many bedecked slips of paper vibrating slightly. I need to speak to my manager.
Understandable.
You, Selyf, looking at these people, they appear to be dressed like... It's so strange. It seems to be a hybrid of, like, mining gear, but also you can recognize some strange sigils on talismans attached all over their bodies. They're...
Anti-curse miners.
Yeah. That's the thought process you put together. And you wonder what and why. Another one, like, runs past and kind of waves to you as he goes.
Selyf raises a hand shyly back.
And you watch as the one you spoke to actually walks up to a small building on the north side of the clearing that you can tell based on your map. That's the outpost, and you see this man stride out, and he is this tall, thin construction, but behind him is a gigantic, bushy peacock tail that stands even taller than him, that adds volume, poise.
Oh,
He
boy.
walks out.
And this is his theme.
And this is his theme. And he walks into the clearing. Every single step, a carefully considered thing with long, pointed shoes. You see this man, and he gives off an aura even more potent than both of the people who wandered up to you in the train car. Nothing compared to that guy in the last car. And his eyes lock with yours, and he gets a beautiful grin, sparkling white teeth, and strides up to you.
Selyf stands up a little straighter and clutches his poncho a little closer.
The man assumes the deepest bow that his long, spindly body can produce, and he looks up from it, gleaming eyes meeting yours, monocle shining. A pleasure to meet you. My name's Bettel Illman. What brings you to my archaeological dig?
Hello. My name is Selyf. I am a traveler on the way to Indigo, and was just hoping for a place to stay the night. I heard there was one here.
Ah!
I'm sorry if that turned out to be untrue.
He suddenly stands up to his full height and just makes a just like, oh, I get it gesture. Smiles, snaps his fingers, and a bunch of miners suddenly rush over to him from all sides. I see. I thought for a second that I thought that we would be able to use the outpost for our own means, but if you wish to stay there, please, don't let me stop you. He smiles. Suddenly the pleasant tone returns to the clearing. You get the feeling he was putting on a big show for you, like he might have been expecting someone or something, but it suddenly relaxes greatly. Don't let me or my men get in your way. I wouldn't want to disrupt a traveler. This is meant to be a place for everyone, after all. He smiles again.
Selyf has seen this tactic before. Birds pick up their feathers to look bigger and scarier.
Yup. You notice his tail has neatly folded behind him. He appears a far more elegant and sort of rapier-thin man. He smiles at you and starts to actually move towards another clearing further down. And suddenly another one of these miners rushes up. Hey, boss! Yes. We found something. It's something big. Oh, fascinating. Okay, very well then. He smiles at you again. I'm sorry to introduce myself and then immediately bid my leave, but unfortunately, we've discovered something. Smiles and takes another step. All of the miners begin to scoot with him.
Selyf watches after them. Curious. He's having another conversation with himself. Well, got here. Okay, the nice people said I could stay here. They're obviously busy.
This guy wanders up. Oh boy. So we've actually got a lot of our stuff in the shack right now. Is it cool if we leave it?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's not my place. I'm just,
Regulations do not allow personnel to interfere with professional tools, and if you do, we are not responsible for health consequences.
Duly noted.
This one vibrates. All of the safety tags across their armor all shake at the same time with every word.
They drop her legs on a tree.
This one turns around again. Oh, you want to come with us? This is gonna be probably something pretty big and impressive.
Oh, am I allowed?
That is visible as long as you do not touch any of the equipment you are not permitted to use.
That's probably fine.
You cannot be responsible for your safety if you use equipment you have not been properly certified for.
I understand. I'm a little bit of a.
Are you in the union? Never mind.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
This one takes a step forward. Yeah, just don't touch anything and you're fine. I'm kind of new to this job too, so yeah, you learn. You just relax. It's fine. He wanders forward, picks up a pick, and then starts to walk.
I will escort you for safety.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. Can I at least drop off my luggage first?
Yes. One moment. He pulls out what looks like some sort of safety marking tape and marks off a rectangle on the ground over here. It will be kept within the safety area.
This one kneels down next to the rectangle and gives you a thumbs up.
Oh,
The
okay.
rectangle protocol has been observed.
Okay, then. Yeah. He dumps some of it off, but keeps the smaller luggages that he knows has some of the more valuable things with him.
This person actually moves around the safety rectangle and puts down a tag in each corner. You can see what's written on them pretty clearly now, and you actually recognize a word, Oribus. And then they walk away.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
This one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I was gonna say, I really like that mask. Your mic keeps on eating your words every now and then, so it just sounds like your character is talking so fast that reality cannot even handle it.
I love it. Let me grab you guys.
Thank God he's not more important.
You go to the dig site. You walk into a clearing and see a bunch of these just garbed figures gathered around a gigantic hole. Many are carrying mining equipment. This is a far, 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 far more organized effort than what you saw earlier. And immediately in the hole in front of you, you see something buried deep.
Selyf takes out his journal, turns to a new page, and starts making notes.
You also see something weird up here. One of the miners appears to be on their knees almost in prayer in front of this statue. They appear to be leaving offerings to it.
Selyf sketches it.
And as you do, you start to sketch the shape of the statue. You put the form to words, and you put the form to ink, and in doing so, your journal shakes slightly.
Oh? Well, that's never happened before.
Is that journal safety compliant?
I think so?
Accepted.
The tall man, Bettel Illman, looks back at you after hearing the shout, and looks back at the hole. Oh, you came along.
Oh, I'm sorry they said I could. I can leave though.
No.
Is this a government operation?
Hey,
Is it secret?
Protocols have been exercised.
It's
The random Illman over here goes, alright, Tim, you can, take 5 to this Illman.
Delightful.
He walks up. This, I suppose, is technically a government operation, but at the same time, that doesn't ban the public necessarily from it. So, you're more than welcome to look. Actually, I'd enjoy it. I'm kind of bored listening to all of these people's reactions.
Well, all right then.
He actually invites you, up to the front of the hole.
Selyf is getting excited.
He actually picks up on that and smiles again. You can tell immediately this guy has a sort of flair for the dramatic. He's enjoying the show. Well, if you want to get closer, of course, I can allow that as well. He slowly takes a step out into the open air, and his foot doesn't touch down on anything. It just sticks and floats, and he walks down as if traveling an invisible staircase, and he motions his hand to you as well.
Oh, is this magic?
Yes, I'm something of I suppose an acolyte.
Fascinating. I've never met a mage before.
I'm far from the best. He smiles as you put a tentative foot out, and you hang in the air too. And with every step, you feel yourself drawn towards the ground. It's actually it's a fun sensation. Your stomach turns at first, but it's almost like flying. He plops down at the bottom. The Illman family, we all share the same familiar, or chain, depending on where you're from. We all share similar magic gifts. I'm something of a mage, but most of our powers come from our pact. This is window dressing. The real power comes in creating holes like these. He motions around himself, and then actually looks down at the looks down at what appears to be a box, and he snaps his fingers, and in a split second, there is a loud rumble, and just all around it, a wave of dust just flies into the air. We've made a pact with the spirit of meteorites, minerals, and the earth. We're able to successfully excavate without harming anything within the ground.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
his eyes glint at that. He fucking beams. Everyone around the hole is like, oh, here we go again. Thank you. I'm glad that someone appreciates my talents.
It's like the perfect gift for archaeological research. You don't have to worry about damaging any of the artifacts.
He fluffs up to maximum size, his chest puffs out, his tail expands. Ah, I see that you're an enthusiast as well. Gifts such as these are wasted on people who would not use them to dig within the earth, to discover lost treasures. Those little kernels of history lost to the human eye.
You know, I've never been exposed to this kind of thing before, but from what I've seen, I have to agree.
He very, very proudly looks down. Well, since you're our honored guest here, he smiles at you. He likes you a lot, you can tell.
Selyf smiles back. He's being genuine.
Do you want to perhaps take the first look?
Can I?
Of course. He nods.
Oh, he's very excited.
Selyf, you look within the container, and it's this peculiar box. It's not made of a stone that you recognize. At first, you thought it's like, yeah, no, we see this all the time. My mountain's made of this stuff. But no. This has unique bands of sort of like a bluish substance. You can tell this stone was like this box, whatever it is, was likely carved from a slab. Whoever made this put an immense amount of effort into it, and the box itself is probably worth quite a bit of money, is what I'd say if you weren't Selyf. The box has significant historical value, is what I'll amend myself to. But as you peer...
Fascinating. It looks to be carved out of sedimentary rock of some kind. Do you see those blue streaks there?
I believe it's some sort of cobalt. He looks down at it. Sorry. Suddenly the entire clearing at the mention of the word cobalt actually, there's a rustle. Almost like a wind blowing through it. That, yes, it's a form of sky stone. He looks at a space in the air, smiles at it, and then looks back at the box. And you similarly peer into the darkness. And once again, you can see all this shit clearly. I don't know why I play up the darkness aspect. I always forget this. And within is a glimmering arc of the highest quality. It possesses that same blue sheen. And you look at it, and there's no mistaking it. Though it's currently unstrung, that's a bow. A gorgeous, gorgeous bow.
A bow. He's like buzzing with excitement. He's like, oh my god.
Oh, fascinating.
Oh my goodness, look at the craftsmanship.
That is
look how well preserved.
Selyf fluffs up, and Bettel actually like reacts for a second and then smiles too. This appears to be made of the finest sky iron I've ever seen. He looks at it, and a semi-wicked grin actually comes over his mouth. that is exceptionally rare and also not an artifact from this part of the country. I'm not sure what it's doing here. I'm not sure why it fell from likely above. He looks at the sky, but
Part of the country. Then, where is it from then? I don't recognize it.
he smiles at that too. Artifacts like this are exceptionally rare because they come from floating islands. They come from the heavens themselves, some could say. It stands to reason people who live up there also have artifacts of their own. They just tend to fall to the ground below willy-nilly whenever one of them passes. Sky iron is a rarity indeed. It requires a mining operation. A mining operation when you can bottom out and fall into the abyss below. So, this rarity is quite something. And, luckily, not magic. Everyone, protocol off! He yells. You notice that a lot of the people around the outside were actually holding their hands out for some reason. You're not sure exactly why, but it was almost like they were trying to contain something. But the second he yells, not magic, the clearing relaxes, and they all go about their business. Well, this should be safe to excavate. Do you want to take it? Pick it up?
Can I?
Of course.
Selyf very gingerly reaches in and with utmost care lifts it up and examines it with sparkles in his eyes.
Oh my god, this is a funny coincidence. You take a look at this bow, and you notice that the craftsmanship has these long sloping angles on it, and parts of it actually end with almost feathered features. Near the head of the bow is actually what appears to be, you'd almost liken it to to things that you have seen in storybooks, the great statues attached to the masts, the bows of ships. That statuary seems to also exist on this bow to a certain degree, except, and this was once again, this is RNG, this isn't me creating a custom weapon for you, Selyf. There appears to be an owl, like,
Wow.
large open eyes and a pointed beak. He looks closer at it again. A bow in the form of what I believe to be, he leans in, Noctua of Xiphos. Weird. He smiles at that and shakes his head. I wonder why it's made of sky iron.
Not
How did those myths
that?
get to the sky? Oh, he snaps his fingers again and starts to walk up and out the hole. Noctua is a hero of a country called Xiphos. Across the sea. It's a tale that's spread among sailors primarily. He is the hunter, the bowman. Actually, some people trace Noctua's origins back to Rauji. He continues on, just mumbling to himself, like, genuinely excited to share lore with Selyf.
Selyf is absorbing all of it. He takes out his journal and starts writing.
He's beaming at you. He loves this. And then he actually extends a hand. Come, there are nicer places to talk than the bottom of a hole.
Oh, of course. He's too caught up in holding the thing. He doesn't want to put it back.
You can
But
take it.
can he take it?
Yeah, Bettel actually nods. Now, naturally, it will go to the museum in Indigo at some point, but
Oh,
for
of
now...
course! Of course, I wouldn't dream of keeping it. Oh my goodness.
You're saying all the right things for this fucking old man. He smiles again at that. I'm the head of, I suppose, Indigo's current preservation society. Me and the Illman family manage a train called the Ill Omen. It doubles as an academy, research station, and also it serves to preserve the finer things that exist in and around the city. We received a tip from a certain male girl that this area was rife with artifacts. We hoped to beat...
Funny, so did I.
Oh, you met her as well.
Yeah, she's something.
he like nods once, like, Clearly he's been through this experience as well. You go back to the Ilman campsite, and I'll redrop your bow. It is within our best interests to explore the outsides, to reclaim any artifacts before she or any others can.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He looks down at the safety rectangle. Oh boy. He looks back at the Ilman miner who is covered in tags. He's a little excessive, but he does mean well. These are tags to make sure that our patron spirit doesn't bother you.
Patron spirit?
Yes. As I said, our powers primarily come from a singular source. A spirit named, he picks up one of the tags and hands it to you, Oribus. Meteorite given human-ish form. And something of a prankster, unfortunately.
I see.
He wanders over and actually sits down at this table and motions for you to join him. Our family wouldn't be a fraction of what it is right now without her assistance. But I suppose I'm something of a mage in my own right. Forming a pact with a creature like that requires a great deal of magic to begin with and an even greater deal of preparation.
Selyf is nodding along, listening, but walking very slowly with the bow. Making sure he doesn't drop it or knock it on anything.
He looks at the bow again and smiles for some reason.
Places it on the table.
Earlier, when I said I was an acolyte of magic, that isn't entirely correct. I'm something closer to an occultist. I believe in forces supernatural and horrifying, and I believe in their careful management. Tools like these, he pats the bow, exist as a wedge to drive back the horrifying and mind-bending, you know? He looks at Selyf again and sort of tips his head and grins. Sky iron, as it stands, does not make particularly good material for a bow. It bends, sure, but it does not bend the same as a fine wood. This bow was meant to slay creatures supernatural and horrifying, too. This is a tool of an occultist, not of an archer. That sigil, that of Noctua, that is the marksman of the four Zyphosi heroes. He represents clear-sightedness and clear-mindedness. And just the same, his vision is meant to pierce the dark, see beyond, comprehend it, and slay it. This bow is a marker of truth. And I'll be happy to add it to our collection. He folds his hands. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect to find someone enamored with archaeological work this far in the woods. Mostly we come across farmers and the like.
To be honest, nor did I. I'm just on my way to Indigo myself.
He thinks for a second. Are you going to join the university?
I am actually, for, archaeological research. Huh. Funny, huh?
I'm not personally associated with the university in any way, but I believe they're making a good acquisition today. He smiles at you. He looks over as his as the Illman family continues to scrungle around. They're now picking up tools. If by any chance, you're interested in learning something that does not fall under the purview of the Academy. The doors of the Ill Omen are always open to those who are interested in the occult, the archaeological, and everything in between.
I see. You know, I gotta say, to be honest, my day has been rather, interesting. I come from a pretty quiet place, so this is a lot. But thank you. Oh, that reminds me! There are people on the road! They need help getting their wagon out! Is there anyone here that can help?
Where? Point it out to me on a map.
He takes out his map and guesstimates the road. He's not super familiar, but he thinks he finds it.
He snaps his fingers again, and this guy appears instantly.
Hello!
There appears to be an issue on the roads. Around this spot, I believe there's a wagon. Take 3 of our... Like, he mumbles off to the side and nods and bids this one on his way.
Understood! 2 assistants!
Oh boy, here we go. A lot of them scoot off. I thought the last resort would handle something like that. Well, I suppose we are occupying their only outpost. He looks at the miserable shack over here that honestly just it's pretty run down, but you can tell it's reasonably maintained. Another one of the miners runs out with like supplies. You can tell that they were using this as like a shed or base camp while they mined here. It was rather uncouth of us to use this area.
Are they not around?
They're not, no. The last resort is all but gone from this area of the world. I believe the chapter in Indigo is technically open right now, but I believe they are staffed by 1 individual currently. He picks at his beard. Well, if you want, I left a lot of my personal tomes in my quarters. I mean, in the last resort outpost. If you want, you can look over them. Take whatever you find interesting. I have duplicates of all of them.
Really?
Of course. He nods, and he nods and grins again.
Yeah. He kind of bows a little. Thank you so much! This... Oh man. You know, I was pretty nervous about leaving home, but it's a good start. Good start.
He
I'm not
smiles.
even in Indigo yet.
He smiles at that, and then suddenly his smile pauses for a second. He seems to not be looking at you, but at something nearby you. You try to follow his gaze, and it connects up to nowhere. It's just empty space, and flowers shake, but that's about it. Selyf, you feel the hairs on the back of your neck sort of stand up. You feel the feathers on the back of your neck stand up. Similarly, his own peacock tail begins to stand as well. Funny. He looks back over at you. Our patron has expressed an interest in you. She says if you're willing to form a pact with us, you will be gladly welcomed into the family. Although admittedly, I am the one who ultimately gets to make that call, I suppose the offer stands. He says it with some amount of venom in his voice, and you feel something sweep through the flowers behind you. Just complete nothingness. And then it's gone in an instant.
Huh. A pact? What would that entail?
He leans in again. unless you are ready to make a vast change in your life, I do not recommend dealing with creatures supernatural, mythological, and horrifying. He's saying this actually kind of under his breath. The commitment tends to be greater than you expect. The life of an occultist isn't one that one calmly claims for themselves. They either do so in foolishness or out of obligation. Once you start on that path, it's difficult to leave. Every single encounter with something bigger than yourself is a bid for survival. You're simply trying to make it to the other side. He relaxes back in the chair.
I think I understand. I read a book like that once. It, well, it didn't end well.
His face kind of grimaces for a second. Fairy tales exist to give us warning about the creatures that cannot exist on this soil. The sunlight eats them alive. They require people like us to give them feature and form. And if one has taken an interest in you, it poses a problem. He looks, you see the guy slip for a second, and he actually seems genuinely tired and or concerned about you. You can feel like, over the course of this conversation, this man has taken a significant interest in you and your future. So, let me give you some advice. Drawing interest is reasonable when the creature in question is contained in one or more ways. Pursuing that interest is a different matter entirely. Don't chase shadows unless you are ready to live within shadows. He slides you actually a book of talismans. Also, keep these on hand, just to be safe.
Okay. Then will the something be offended if I politely decline?
He smiles at that, and you feel the everything in the clearing shake for a second. Offended, yes, but it's better to politely decline than to accept without knowing what that entails. Without a contract, she cannot do anything to you. Anything of note, I suppose. So,
Right.
Keep your nose clean, he says, standing up. That came off as far too hostile. And you see a shadow almost bend around Bettle's back. And for a second, you feel the presence of eyes on your face. And just the same, it's just a split second of sight, almost an illusion created by the peacock tails, of something watching you, and then just as quickly, once again, gone. He almost bodily gets a chill, his pin-like body drawing up, and turns around and looks at you. The city of Indigo right now is something of a den of evil, I suppose. Stick to the university. I hear it's relatively safe. Poking around at night is a bad idea.
Okay. Well, thank you for everything, truly. It's amazing. It's great. Thank you.
He grins again. Oh, I nearly forgot. He picks up the bow. And you feel the pain of it getting taken away.
Yeah, there's pain, but he understands. He will be strong.
Well, I suppose we'll be leaving this clearing for today. The old woman you encountered will be assisted. Worry not about that. I wish you the best night that you can have in the middle of the woods out here. My last few have been uneventful, but not the peak of luxury. He smiles again. If you want. Yes, that makes sense. If you want, I can station guards around this area of the woods. Make sure nothing gets in.
That that would be appreciated.
He smiles. Oh, right. Tomorrow I'll need to be back for that box. Well, I wish you a good night. He waves, bows, and then walks away.
Selyf waves after him.
And just like that, quiet descends over the clearing again.
When he leaves, Selyf remembers his own box that he dug up.
Yes!
I should have asked him about that. Oh, maybe tomorrow. He will be at the university, possibly. I could talk to him about it there if I don't see him. Well, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, Selyf, with the rest of your night ahead of you, how are you going to spend it? Like, are you gonna go check out the cabin? Are you gonna chill out in the woods? Read a book? How does Selyf spend his time?
Well, I'd say he'd probably look around the cabin just to see where he can hunker down for the night, and then I think he wants to. There's been a lot of excitement, so he probably wants to cool off and read.
Fantastic. Okay. So, you head into the cabin, and just give me a raw d20 just luck roll right now.
That's just to do?
Just type in chat /roll type /roll d20, and that's all you got to do.
Any spaces?
Roll space d20.
Okay.
Ooh, the lucky number. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you're dealing with a very superstitious group of people. Perfect. Okay.
Oh, hey, and your numbers before this were all 1s and then all 3s.
That's not foreboding. So, you go into the the foreman's shed, and it's really nice in here. Actually, there's a large phonograph set up, a really cushy chair. Like, this place has been completely rebuilt to be something that you imagine to be like the workshop of a mad mage, if you had to guess. Everything is interesting in here.
Great. He's gonna look at all of it.
Okay.
Let's start here.
Okay.
At the
Yeah,
shelf.
you oh boy, yeah, no, you find the talisman drawing station, and it's the same words written again and again and again.
Uh-huh.
Orbis, 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 again and again and again and again. And
Does Selyf know what Orbis means?
ooh, you could probably research that, actually. Like, yeah, no. Do you want to take a quick look through those bookshelves? You could probably find a book related to spirits, mythological creatures, etc. Like, almost immediately.
Okay.
Okay. So Selyf, I'm gonna get you some investigation music. So you see the phrase Orbis written over and over and over again, and it's on all of these talismans, and it was, oh boy, it seems like an ever-present name whenever you're whenever you've been around this campsite. Even if it wasn't directly spoken, you could feel it. And as you paw through the big book of spirits, you stumble across a few names, and a few seem to mention Orbis. It is a creature, you quickly determine, known as a legend. It is an abbreviated name, one that exists so you're not constantly saying the word supernatural or mythological creature. Legend are beasts drawn from mythology, tall tales, etc. They're constructions of fancy figmentation. They're spirits that can't possibly exist in the real world. And this book reads almost like a book of fairy tales. Orbis is a creature that chases comets. It's a beast born from the scarred carcass of a meteorite. Connecting up what you know so far with the pact that the Illman family formed, you're almost certain that it's with this creature known as Oribus. It follows control of minerals, the earth, all that nonsense is probably tied to this myth of meteorites. Visitors from afar carrying precious and poorly understood metals. You piece through it again, and yeah, those talismans scattered here and there are to ward off this creature, or perhaps curtail and control it. You're glad you're carrying that book of talismans right now.
Said it's meant to ward off Orbis?
It's meant to ward off. These talismans are meant to ward off Oribus. Or
Why
perhaps
do they have his name scrawled all over it, Selyf wonders. Seems more like a possession thing than a ward off.
Give me a roll to die really quick.
Sure.
Ooh, excellent. Now choose which color you're gonna keep.
I think I'm gonna pick this one.
Understandable. Okay, cool. Now, give me... This is the activation of Selyf's unique class ability. When lost in intellectual thought, when researching something, he's able to roll to die immediately for free to get a swing, and then he's allowed to roll to do. So now give me a roll to do.
Okay.
Which gives you a substantial advantage.
Roll. Let's go.
Get that roll to do.
I hit it. It's thinking.
Roll 20 takes some time, sometimes. That's a
there we
big
go.
campaign. Perfect. Okay. See, so if you'd rolled a 1d6, you might not have beaten the 15, which was actually the DC for this. So, very useful. You start to piece it together and think, like, yeah, those are talismans meant to scare something off. Why is a family that theoretically has a pact with this creature trying to scare it away? And you remember the expression on Betel Illman's face. The years behind his eye and the weight of what he called himself, an occultist. You're starting to process that this man likely made a deal with what he considers to be a devil. Oribus is likely a creature that is whittling its way constantly around the Illman family. These talismans, the absolutely absurd level of safety protocol that was observed exists so that the very creature that they're working with does not do something awful to them. And remember also what he said. I've taken an interest in you.
At that realization, Selyf shivers a little. He's curious, but he's thinking that it might be best if he didn't know. But he's curious. Is there anything else to read?
Oh, fantastic. Okay, yeah, not in this book, but there's probably other books.
Okay. He's gonna patter back over and take a look.
You start going through book after book, and before you realize it, time's sort of gotten away from you. You get very caught up in this stuff very easily. And eventually night settles in, actually. Let me grab an appropriate night song for you. I think this one works. Question, did you lock the door, as Dodge suggested?
I want to say no.
Okay.
I think he may have forgotten.
That
Yes,
tracks
yeah.
for Selyf. He is so caught up. You look through book after book, and you're not quite able to find... You're not quite able to find the, the exact piece of information you're looking for. Like, you're looking for a little bit more about this creature, maybe where it comes from, what it does, etc. And eventually you pull out your journal and you're sort of like taking notes as you go on anything you do discover. And your pen is pressed up against the journal, and you look over at the book, another dud, slowly close it, and you notice that your pen, the one gifted to you by your wonderful, almost family, the townsfolk back home from Nest, actually picks itself up, angles itself oh so gently, and begins to slowly scratch away at the piece of paper.
Whoa. Selyf just doesn't move and watches it with his eyes wide. Like, what the fuck?
The first letter starts. It actually sees your reaction, and then the pen drops for a second. And then it picks itself back up. And what it was writing at first stops, an ink blot now resting on the page. It then writes again in this long, loopy cursive writing, "Don't panic."
Selyf doesn't move and tries very hard not to panic. Feathers are on end.
It twists again, taps a few times, and like goes to slowly write once more. It writes out, "Can you open the door?" ?
He looks at the door. He looks back at the paper. He nods?
Oh shit, okay.
He doesn't get up, he just nods. He can.
Yeah.
In theory.
It taps a few more times. Then it goes, and then it asks again, "Can you let me in?" ?
Who is me?
The journal begins to actually turn a few times, page after page, slowly going, and the pen just dances, almost jumping after each turn, and the needle comes to rest straight down on the page you drew that statue.
Oh.
And slowly No, actually, hold on. It starts to write an A, and then quickly scratches that out again, and writes an OROBAS.
Did Selyf find that symbol in any of the books he read?
Yeah, oh god, you sure did. That is a good point. Yeah, no, that statuary, that is a very, very you'd recognize it anywhere. Those long sloping curves almost remind you of the trail of a meteorite. Beautiful thing. Honestly, just gorgeous in construction. And in re-examining it, you start to think back to that statue in the woods, and you can sort of feel it almost calling to you. And then you quietly remember the person leaving offerings out front. You remember that feeling in the clearing. And it reminds you a lot of that.
He says, "Why do you need to be let in? Can you not let yourself in?"
The quill stops, taps again a few times on the notebook, as if the person on the other side is thinking deeply about this. And then quickly, very quickly, the quill darts forward as if frustrated. Tag on the door.
He's pretty freaked out. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I've sort of been warned against you, so you're gonna need to make a case for yourself if I'm gonna open this door.
You the note pauses, and then very calmly again writes, "Don't panic," and then pauses again for a second, says, "There is something outside, ... I can protect you from it."
And how do I know that the thing I need protecting from is not you?
The note pauses again. And then just kind of small actually just writes, "You don't."
Selyf thinks back to the many horror novels he's read in his life. And being a little genre savvy at this point, knows that this is usually a sign of tentative benevolence. So he is going to take a deep breath.
Oh my god, Selyf!
And very carefully get out of the chair and approach the door and put his ear to it and listen.
You? Oh boy. Okay. So give me another roll to do. You can use your red stat again.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh boy. So you listen at the door and you hear a gentle thudding. It's not coming from the door, is the first thing you realize. It's coming from over here, and over here, and over here, and over here. And it's trying to be as quiet as it physically can, whatever it is. But the impacts start... There are no windows. The impacts start coming more simultaneous than you think one creature is capable of. And you realize a few are actually coming from the roof, too.
Ooh. How old is the door? Are there any, like, cracks in it?
It's relatively... Yeah, actually, it's relatively old. You can sort of see out into the clearing. Sorry, give me one more roll to do.
Okay.
Okay, so you look out into the clearing, and it's strange. you can your dark vision, which I did not account for, punches straight
I didn't
through.
ask for dark vision.
Oh no, but you would have it. Look at Selyf, he has it. You look out, and you're not quite sure what, but you can tell something is wrong with the clearing itself, and you're not sure what. It's bothering you. It's like you've seen this place, and you've got a really good memory. When you see something, you remember it, and it's like that kind of contradicts that a bit, but you don't know why. It's like something about it is just a little off.
Okay. Selyf glances back to the notebook. Has anything new been written at all, or has anything moved?
No, nothing's
Okay.
moved.
Looks back at the door. He takes a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, and then he will open the door and then quickly shut it.
Okay.
Like, instantaneously.
Fantastic. So, Selyf, here's what happens.
Okay.
You open the door, and you feel the tear of the tag on the other side. Likely it was either Battle or one of the guards that put this down. And the second it happens, the door snaps open 100%, and you feel a gust of wind as you are pulled bodily outside by something.
Ooh.
Let me
Uh-oh.
got this. So if you hit the ground and
Curiosity killed the owl.
you slide along it for a second and come to rest in the dirt. This is the most startled you've maybe ever been. And you don't know what's happening, but you're outside now. The darkness seems to pour in from all sides, a new sensation for you. And you look up at your heart in your throat and you see something towering over you. A figure of burning shadow looks down at you with eyes that seem to simultaneously celebrate and mock you. And for a moment, you feel like your life is maybe going to end at this creature's hands. And then it slowly points back at the house. And you turn back and you look. And all over it, top to bottom, you realize what was missing from the clearing. You process what the noises on the roof were. And every single one of the Galatea has moved. They have pressed themselves motionless to the building. And with creaking joints, they slowly turn and look at you.
Great.
And the figure actually draws around you, that same encompassing shadow shielding you from whatever's happening here. And they slowly begin to move in, step after step. Selyf, what are you gonna do?
Try not to panic.
I respect you. Thud, this one falls off the roof.
Okay. Maybe back away?
You take a step backwards and you notice that step actually becomes like 10 paces because whatever this thing is, it brings you with. It is clinging to your back and shielding you. It makes movement actually rather easy. They continue to press in. They almost seem to be lacking in intelligence to a certain degree, but they seem drawn to you for some reason.
Can... Does Selyf know the way to Indigo from here?
Selyf, it would be very difficult, but yes, you do have a grasp of the path.
Now, thinking maybe I can kite them around. The Selyf wants his things.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Do you wanna roll to kite?
Yeah. Is that just a do?
Give me a do roll.
I'm going. Okay.
Oh fuck, okay. You start to like try to bait them in, and Selyf, it's so funny. Over the course of today, you felt moments where you were afraid. It was from simple things like being startled, from having two people who were a little too overbearing come up to you on the train. But in this moment, you just have this realization: all of my stuff's inside that building. All of the things that my town, that Nest gave me, are inside of that building, and I can't leave without it. And in this moment, you aren't afraid, despite facing down a nightmare to anyone else. You feel courage, and they start to shamble towards you. And you take the very first step, the first confident one you've had all night, and you strike the ground, and as you do, the creature behind you raises a hand, and similarly, the ground parts. It slides with you, and in a moment, you swing through. Almost a flash of silver amidst the moonlight, slamming into the building in a moment.
Cool.
You re-enter the shed.
Okay.
What's the plan from here? Let's give you an upgraded version. Oh wait. Gotta grab your friend.
Selyf, he's gonna look around. The only thing he really took out of his pack was, like, his quill and his journal. The
Ooh.
rest of the stuff was
Still packed up?
still packed up because most of what he was reading was from the shelves and none of his own things. So he throws that stuff as gently as he can, considering the feather, into the pack and fastens it up.
Yeah, you quickly move through, hurriedly stuffing everything away. You notice actually the quill is moving on the journal again. It at first it starts to write out something complex. It starts to write out something actually like cursive, the same beautiful handwriting you saw before. Then it throws that aside for a very simple print, got your back, period, and then draws an almost out of character little smiley face next to it.
Aw. Selyf, he gives a little small smile at that, sort of like a nervous one, but tries to work as fast as he can, and then gets out. He says, "Think you could take me to Indigo?"
It stops, pauses, taps the paper. Absolutely. And the Y is like extra cursive-y.
Then let's go.
And with that, you get ready to charge back into the night. Are you going to, tell me your plan?
He's just gonna take the shortest path that he thinks he knows to Indigo. Or in the direction of it.
Okay. So, how are you gonna leave the shed? Just gonna fucking book it?
Oh, well, he's gonna look first. Is there, like, an opening in the little dudes?
There is not. They've actually formed up into a relative wall. And then you notice the quill on the paper again. It writes out, "Allow me," and then immediately under it taps, "Sorry, period. A trade, ... And the creature on your back actually reaches down for a moment and places one inky black finger on your forehead. And Selyf, you feel pretty cold for a second. For a second, you're like, oh, did this thing just kill me? Hold on. But no, it's a familiar chill, actually. It's so strange. It's a chill that you haven't felt since you were home. And in front of your eyes dances a vision. It's a vision of your hometown. Locked on all sides by ice. It was the warmest place you ever knew, but it was cold just the same. And you remember a moment, always stuck out to you for some reason. Sometimes, rarely, someone would travel. They'd stop by from the church, a wandering priest. It was the best you could hope for in town. He brought all sorts of stories from the outside. Books. These beautiful tomes. I'd always give them to you. And those moments that they came by the town of Nest were some of your brightest, some of your warmest. And you remember this moment in particular. You'd been waiting a while for them to swing back around, and they stopped by just as a great snowstorm was setting in. I looked down in the shabby clothes, the only clothes they could really afford, placed a hand on your shoulder. Oh, sorry, little guy. Looks like a blizzard's coming in. Can't do any of the physical training stuff, but we can at least train your brain. That's a muscle, too. Taps the top of your head. And the sides of Nest fall, locking in for the big blizzard. The candles all springing to life around you. Come on. I brought plenty of books for you. It was a smile more radiant than any other, but for the life of you, you can't remember who it belonged to. And when you come back to, you are in the midst of all these creatures, and they've stopped. Not because of anything your companion did, but you can feel it. Something changed about yourself. There was something hidden away behind that memory, and they all are locked in place. A glimmering, almost shining, beautiful substance dancing all around them. And, in the same instant, it's gone. But all of the Galatea hold completely still. And the creature on your back actually just drops to the side and gives you a look. You're not sure what that look means, but they're looking at you pretty intently. They start tapping their heel.
What?
They look genuinely upset for a moment. They cross their arms.
Selyf looks back at the dudes. They're not moving at all?
They're not moving at all.
Okay, well he's gonna take a few steps away from them and dig out his journal and pen again and hold it out.
Caps lock. What?
What?
Caps lock again. What do you mean what? What you stops. You could do that? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Do what?
That! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
I don't know what that is!
Stops. The pen twists in the air again. Tap, 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 tap. UGH, period.
Sorry?
They once again form up around you, and the pen on the paper goes, "It's fine." There's a period at the end of the "it's fine."
Okay, listen, I've seen that writing before. It's not fine. I don't know!
There's, like, they look you dead in the eyes. The same eyes watching from the darkness. And then in very earnest, "What are you?" is written on the piece of paper.
What? You know, that's pretty ironic coming from you.
The pen taps on the paper after a few seconds. Apparently you got them with that one. And they write, yeah, period. And then write another second, I believe it has extra weight, period. And then you hear another call from the darkness. A roar as a man rushes into the clearing. Orobus, you will not have him! He runs in, stomps his foot, and the figure just retracts in a second. Are you alright?
I think so. He helped me out, actually.
Bettel looks at the situation, looks at all the Galatea. What happened here? He wanders over and starts to look. The Galatea have not moved in a long, long time.
Okay.
I believe we should probably go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for
fine,
startling
Green.
you in the middle of the night.
It's okay, I was already startled.
He smiles and takes another step. But something seems to stop him. And, something tugging at his peacock tails. And you feel that same shadowy presence forming up behind him again. Oh, boy. He turns around and looks at you and slowly shakes his head. You've gained the interest of a troublesome one.
I didn't mean to.
Shrugs, takes another step forward. It's been a while since I've seen my own familiar so spooked by something. She says, of all the terrifying things in the city of Indigo, of everything she's seen so far within those horrid halls, you might be the single scariest. It's a compliment, unfortunately. He slowly shakes his head back and forth. He he goes, yes. I'm upset to say, but our family might have a vested interest in you after all. Huh. Wait, no, hold on. He gets a wicked grin on his face. For disturbing you in the middle of your rest, I intend to punish my familiar. He reaches into his cloak and actually pulls something out. It is an old, but absolutely immaculate sky iron bow. He hands it over to you.
Yeah, he takes it.
This is the same bow you were admiring earlier. This is Noctua's bow.
Are you giving me this?
He smiles. Yes. Consider it an apology, as well as a countermeasure in the future. It's funny. The second you touch the bow, you feel that same whirling, shadowy presence around you actually dissipate. A fun thing about Orobus, she is a creature of minerals. Loves silvers. She loves coal, and she loves cobalt. Iron is something that she can't handle. He grins. If she ever gives you trouble, use that bow.
Okay.
You feel the presence reappear behind you, and it is looking at you like, don't you fucking dare.
He's a little torn. Well, can you tell her I said thank you?
He stops and turns on his heel. Yes, of course. He looks at her, and you see something twitch in his forehead for a split second. Not even as a joke. And then starts to walk away, and you hear another scratching in your journal.
Yeah, he looks at it.
It is just it is just a single word followed by a question mark. Contract? Question mark.
He's gonna look at
Lean
her.
over.
He's gonna look at her and slowly close the book.
They make an annoyed expression in your general direction. Well, if we're going to Indigo by night, we'll need to take our time. I'll make sure to escort you every step of the way to make sure nothing looks at the pair of you untoward happens. He fumes as he walks off. The figure in front of you takes a few, like, almost sprightly steps. They are clearly delighting in tormenting this man.
Selyf kind of indignantly looks at her. You know, I kind of like him, you know. I'm great you made him mad at me. I'm thankful, but, you know...
They
on.
shake their head and then point at themselves. Like, nah, he's probably mad at me.
I guess that's fair.
They mock laughing as they travel behind you. This is your first experience being haunted, and it is... It's something.
It's not like what you read in books.
It is not even remotely like what he read in books. So, Selyf, you start traveling the path towards Indigo. It's not quite the trip you expected. In fact, what you expected was something closer to the earlier part of tonight. The part that involved long, cozy walks with friends and soon-to-be friends through melancholic parts of the countryside. The way the day ended up, you get a different feeling. Like, this isn't the first night of yours that's going to end this way. The ghost follows behind you, almost mocking you with every single step as a peacock man wanders in front of you. So, shall we go to that beautiful city, the Pearl of the South, Indigo? He bows and leads you on your way.
I think I'd like that.
And with there, we're going to go to a loading screen really quick. Because we are at the end of the session, and there is something that needs to happen. Also headed towards Indigo at this late hour is another train, this time bound from south to north. This is a far, far fancier affair than the one that Selyf rode into town on. This one's carrying passengers from Lancia. One of the doors slowly creaks open and somebody walks out. They stand to their full height, wrap a scarf around their neck, and lock in a helmet and mask, properly adjusting the little voice changer attached to their throat. They stand up and travel out of the room just as their cell phone begins to ring. They flick it open, look down at the phone, see the name on it, put it to their ear. Well, the closest thing they can get to their ear. Yeah, hello?
Oh yeah, hello. Yeah, where the fuck are you little brat?
I'm on the train, nearly to Indigo. Why are you calling?
What?
It's the middle of the goddamn night.
You're on the goddamn train to Indigo right now. Oh my fucking god. Oh. Why? Why did you leave before you even got your briefing?
I got enough. I heard enough. Listen, I got the job from the Emperor. Gray, you can't do this to me right now.
Gray? No, I can and I will. Hold on. Look, do you even have your stuff with you?
Yeah, I brought all the experimental shit from the labs.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that much makes sense. You were able to actually answer. He kind of stops a little bit, slowly pulling himself back just a bit. But the anger and irritation doesn't seem to leave his voice. It never has. It never does. And he continues speaking. Well, you'd probably find it pretty interesting to know what's happened since you left.
Anything?
After all-
Nothing? The Emperor throw another shit fit?
Oh no, the opposite. He was laughing his fucking ass off. Oh god.
The man, the masked man growls.
What do you even think you're going to be doing with those weapons in Indigo?
I don't know. I assume securing the situation. Like, I guess the job of a Gray right now.
Well, you'd be wrong. Your designation's not Gray for this mission. If you would
What
have
is
stuck
it,
around, I
red?
could explain it. No, you fucking psychopath! Jeez! He suddenly stops for a moment. It's yellow.
Yellow. He taps the side of his own helmet. Yeah, that explains some things. Also, wait, how the hell do you know where I am? He looks out the window. He is awfully close to the small town named Yellow.
If I was able to tell you that,
You bastard. You got eyes and ears everywhere.
you know I can't tell you. Besides, he stops again. That is far, far from what we're supposed to be talking about right now.
What? So
Listen.
you're gonna come in here and slap a color on me? That's fine. Mr. Yellow doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, Gray.
He stops a bit. How about Sir Yellow? Just change it up. I don't give a shit.
I'm not a
Stick to the code name.
knight.
Sure, look like one of that goof armor.
Shut up! He shakes the phone knowing it gives shitty feedback.
Ah!
Hey,
Fine. Just treat it like a code name this time, then. How about that?
okay. Yell's short enough. Just yell.
All right. He thinks.
What, you're not gonna laugh?
No, I'm not. I'm not really in a laughing mood. He stops for a moment. Listen. Have you even taken a briefing of Indigo's current situation?
I figured I'd absorb it on the ground, talk to our agents there.
If you were going in as Gray, you... He stops for a moment. Okay, fine. Everything up to this phone call behind me. Okay. Here's the briefing, Yell. He quickly goes in. Town of Indigo's pretty fucked right now. Everything, government, basically gone. And we do have people on the ground, but hell if you can trust them. Besides, you're going in as Yellow for this operation, so... Well, be careful. There's also been some rather strange reports. Probably just those superstitious Windrose folk, but... There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Okay.
As with any kind of shitty backwater kind of country, this place a little more, well, a little more up-to-date, a little more high speed, which means that the conspiracies are a lot more complex and annoying. I would,
Frustrating. I'm glad I'm not going in as Gray then.
Yeah, exactly. So, consider yourself blessed. After all, I believe with that equipment and with the state of Indigo, I think your current assignment should be rather easy. Just be careful. The RNA block is hired on a rather dangerous group of mercenaries, and there's another group on Seaside. Those should be the worst military branch, but there's also a few other branches. I believe if you go talk to the cabinet there, you might be able to find a few information. Just tell them that Gray sent you, as usual.
He nods along, back pressed up against the barrels. Wow, are you getting soft in your old age? This is the most I've heard you offer any of your subordinates.
He stops and then just kind of like completely ignoring that almost kind of keeps talking past. I'm being careful because, well, this whole assignment sure does remind me of Operation Shattered Fox. All the details around, the clusterfuck. It's like history repeating itself. Though I'm sure after all this experience you've gotten, it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Just, don't try to make friends this time, Yell.
He stops. I'll do my best, sir. I'm hanging up.
Oh!
He clicks the phone shut and, like, actually shaking slightly, slowly puts it away. Damn it. Hell, whatever. He walks towards the back, interested in getting some fresh air, even though he knows it'll barely reach him under the helmet. He slowly places a hand on the back door and eases it open, and assumes his position on the back of the train. It's where he spent most of his time, the antisocial prick. But there's something beautiful about the skyline. The same skyline a certain bird is watching on his way into town. Takes it in, thinks to himself, huh, Indigo, huh? Looks up, and prepares to accept what is likely to be his final assignment. And with that, all of the pieces are placed on the board. All of the different factors playing into the situation ride towards a singular destination, the port city of Indigo. How will this tale play out? With multitudes assembled, a conflict of darkness and factional affairs begins. We now begin our adventure in the very next episode as we discover what has been forgotten in Indigo. And with that, we are done! Good work, team. Oh, boy!
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, good fucking work.
Good job.
Don't
yeah,
monotone yell.
Amy, if you go talk to the dean, you should be able to sign up to teach his class pretty easy. Be able to get that done really quick. So I can't wait to see you. It's gonna be great. We'll go on some archaeological adventures together. It'll be a grand old time.
I can't wait.
Oh, fuck. No. We're not done yet. Roll it back. You received something this night, Amy.
Uh-huh.
I figure this is well overdue. I'm gonna do it right now because I'll forget otherwise. There's some room clearing that I gotta do. Some air clearing that I gotta do. I haven't been the best at dropping bond ups when I'm in the moment because I'm just so focused, but of course you get one for him. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
This guy adores you. Like, that's great. Unfortunately, you might also be getting one for this. Let me just.
Can that be done?
I knew
There we
I
go.
could have
That's fine. No, this works better. And there is one more thing that you need to do before the end of the session. You need to decide who you're going to copy for the session.
Who am I gonna copy?
Yep. It's a big question. There are no bad choices this session, and whatever you get free.
Well,
So don't worry about that shit.
yeah, I'm gonna make the most logical choice, actually, because that's what Selyf would do. I'm actually gonna go for Mr. Peacock Man. I feel like Selyf was sort of already studying him anyway.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Okay, now roll me 1d2 because he possesses not one but two very powerful classes.
Ooh.
This will determine your fate.
Oh.
So slash roll d2.
Yeah, slash roll d2. Oh boy. So. Oh boy. So, oh god. Amy,
Uh-huh.
when I was designing the gifts for this game,
Uh-huh.
I valued punctuality. I valued
No.
my ability to write concisely.
Uh-huh.
Most of the gifts fit, they're a short paragraph, they are a simple sentence, etc.
Uh-huh.
The gift that you chose is, in fact, so potent and so long, it required so much writing, it took 2 entire Discord messages to send. And that is the gift. That is a gift. Oh boy. Oh,
Tell me about
boy.
it, Jay.
Yeah, that is a gift known as an Ashala. That it is not something that was mentioned by name, but it is specifically a variant of spellcaster capable of forming contracts with supernatural beings. That is their specialty, that is what they do, and you now have the same abilities. Similarly, you are able to a certain extent control them. You are given this ability that is exceptionally life-changing.
He's too strong.
Congratulations, Mr. Blue Mage Summoner! That is...
A whole other class is what that lets you capture is what you've done.
Holy shit!
That's
so...
my main baby.
So... Disclosure. Betel Ilman has 2 classes. The first is Occultist. It is about accepting danger and minimizing the risks. An Occultist is about living through your encounters with the occult. The class that you chose is his second class, the dangerous one that he uses Occultists to mitigate. You took the class that enables him to commune with supernatural beings. You can now form pacts of your own. I have written out basically just, hey, here's the basics of a pact. Here's how this works. Here's what you can make shit do. I will send you that. In fact, fuck. I'm gonna reveal this to everyone so you know I'm fucking playing fair. I'm going to go to the World Anvil and reveal for you all both of Betel Ilman's gifts. Because I'm gonna be straightforward about this one. These are the ones you could have gotten. You obviously gained the second. I am your luck and your ability to call just beautiful. So what happened is, I think this is the best version of the story that could have been told, because you rolled constant haunted 18s. And 13s. All of your shit was that unlucky 13, and you decided, I'm not only gonna roll with, I'm gonna roll with this shit. It is, I'm going to trust the demon outside, and in doing so, you gained the ability to make contracts with them. That is literally the most beautiful storytelling I can imagine.
Yeah, you know, when you take one foot out of the nest, that's the first thing you learn.
Pacts with demons!
Pacts with demons!
So, I want to just quickly tell you what Occultist gives you. Occultist, if you took it, its primary is called Cursebreaker, and it says you may remove any gift that states it is impossible to remove.
Ooh.
It is literally, oh, did I just get hit with some fucking, like what Teach got hit with during her session? No, not my problem.
Could I have removed it from other people?
Yes, that is their secondary function.
Wow.
However, and that is what they are capable of rolling later. However, the Ashala is something different. So, I can't even begin to describe what happens there, but this class is fucking grotesque. Let me save the changes. The World Anvil is now live for anyone who wishes to check out Bettel Illman's page. I am going to post it in the stream. Holy shit. Aram says, sounds like the no fun class. Everyone should just be cursed all the time. I'm glad. I'm glad you agree.
Well,
Holy
luckily,
shit.
Aram, I am not a narc.
Yep.
I didn't roll a 1.
So. Oh boy. Good fucking session. We've got fan art.
Job.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go, fan art!
Let's go fan art!
I'll grab all this.
Posted a link to the here in the chat, J-Man.
That's who I got it. Boop boop.
This is provided
Okay.
by
From
Middle.
here we go. Yeah, thank you, Middle, for making this Imgur.
It's so helpful.
Yep,
It
and
is
then first up, we got from Monichi a Persona-style Beretta, which is goddamn excellent.
It's fantastic. I saw this when I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Yep. Then from Lester 2020, we got a Selyf in his books.
Boy,
Aww.
boy, there's gonna be so much awe during this. It's gonna be nuts.
Yep.
Has to happen. He is too cute.
Then from Tiny Electric Gremlin, we got another Selyf.
Aww.
I love how ruffly his necky feathers are.
Yeah, good job on those.
From Jasper, we got another Selyf.
Perfect. Oh, I love the expression.
Oh.
Then
I like the eyes too. Really good.
I should switch to less scary music for fan art.
from Lester 2020, we got the Squad.
It's a complete squad.
Mhm.
Oh, squad.
Love the squad.
Then from Harper, Awkward Energy.
Bless you, Sif, for hopping in for this.
Yeah.
Oh, that was incredible.
Next one is
Funny
a
bastards.
edit from South Frost, which appears to be Pennywise Selyf.
Oh, that's
Oh,
what
no.
that. I thought it was Demi-Fiend Selyf, honestly. Like, color swap Demi-Fiend is what I can think of with the fucking lines.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fucking is Demi-Fiend after this session.
There is. He didn't even have to eat a worm to get there.
Yeah.
Then from Middle, got a nice conversation between two lads.
Aww.
Two feathery boys.
Dodge is a morning person and also just as shy as Selyf.
I love him.
Then from Drax, we got another Selyf.
Lovely.
Fluffy boy, fluffy boy.
Then from Lemieux, they laugh in unison. It's awful.
Horrible, horrible rabbit.
Holy shit.
Then from Jasper, baby time.
The sweat drops.
Baby time.
Baby time.
Oh, some ball.
Then from Harper, tiny plushy Selyf.
Aw,
It's like a little gingerbread man.
that was made for you by your hometown. It's very cute.
The entire collective hometown came together and knitted one stitch each.
It took a long time.
Don't be silly, J-Man. There's not that many people.
Yeah. Sleepy Moth. Crystal, I do not see it. 1-1.
I love these fucking character arcs of you start off rolling miserably and then by the end it's like, no, shit's hitting the fan, I am hyper competent. Like, I love
As
that.
it should be.
Yeah, oh.
Have a character arc growth all in episode 1.
From the God of Trash, Bird.
Oh my god! Oh my god! He's just a little boy!
Then from Harper, Friend-shaped Selyf.
Friend-shaped
Correct.
Selyf.
Oh.
Look at the pretty boy.
Then from Lemieux. I'm not usually covered in
I'm
snot.
not usually covered in snot. He's lying. Civ is so fucking funny. What the hell?
God, I love seeing Glammy so fucking much.
Ultra Perstinct. Number 8. I can't leave without my number 8!
I love him.
Oh, gosh.
I just heard Civ laugh from the living room.
From Jasper. Another Selyf with flower
Oh.
As soon as it was like, oh, you got a sunflower in your hair. Yeah, he doesn't notice. I was aching for someone to do fan art. I need
Third eye opens.
Yep. And then from Sour Badger, we got an arch.
Oh, hell to the fuck yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Didn't even show up in the location.
That's something good.
Then from Lester 2020, we got the grandma cooking what appears to
Eat
be
well, kiddos.
it appears to be Monster Hunter food.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then from Middle, we got another Selyf.
Oh. Love your
Very
style,
cute.
Middle.
Then from Cabbage, we got Glamier.
Oh, that's fantastic. He's got a very different energy. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And then from Sleepy Moth.
Cube!
The Cube! I just think they're neat. That scene was fun. I got to improv artifacts.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
All of those just off the top.
From Monichi.
Oh my god!
Line work on this one.
Fantastic expression.
Yeah.
That's the mood.
From God of Trash. Who's there? That's excellent.
That's so good.
And from Mooney, Grave Robber.
Grave robber.
Oops.
Could be Graves, you don't know.
You don't know. From Ultra Perstinct.
Oh.
Aww.
Then from Cabbage, we got another Selyf.
Aww.
Oh.
Then
Very nice.
from Sour Badger. Are we grave robbing? I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Oh god, excellent. And from the Electric Gremlin, we got a Heil. Excellent.
Aww. I'm so
Yes.
glad this session is just full of birds.
Bird.
Right?
Right? I was about to say
Bird
that.
session!
That been a lot of birds.
I forgot that Betel Illiman is a peacock, to be honest. And then I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's a peacock! I forgot!
Finally, birds.
Then from Monichi. Who's there?
That was the clearest I've ever seen anything ever.
Oh, excellent. Then from God of Trash. Safety compliant? Oh, that's weird.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry the
fantastic.
strange loud man came and yelled at you.
I just want to say, I love all of you guys getting the little nose marking that Selyf has. That's
Yeah.
very important
Yeah.
to me.
From Mooney, we have the ultra up close Selyf.
Oh.
I love it. Tiny smile.
From Jasper, we got a Heil. Oh, that's
Aw.
wonderful.
Aww.
And then from Lester 2010, we have several different variants of the possibilities Selyf could have had. We have bow Selyf, bow axe Selyf, bow spear Selyf, bow sword Selyf.
So, I shit you not, there are 4 heroes of Zyphos. Noctua is the bow user, and he is also an owl. That is just good job.
Yep.
Wow.
Good work.
Nice job. From Lester 2020.
Oh no. Thankfully that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it's just a cool bow.
It's cool in there. From Drax, Indigo's only male girl, and Archer's Curse Artifact Finder.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yep.
You can have more
Very
than one
cute.
job.
Then from Drax, we got a Dodge.
Aw.
Good boy.
Oh.
The good boy.
Then from Cabbage, we got a Bedell.
Hell yes. Hell to the fuck yes. I love my fucking mysterious wizard grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, kudos on tackling the tail feathers. That's
Good work.
Yeah, that's
From,
cool.
From Mooney, big book of you're fucked.
You're fucked.
From Cabbage, this one speaks so fast that sometimes his lines just annihilate themselves from the universe.
I love him. I imagine him constantly vibrating.
No! Thank God he worked with this character and he wasn't super important.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it passed.
Mask, you're so funny.
Yeah.
You are so fucking funny, dude.
From Cabbage, don't panic. Don't!
Don't fucking panic.
Did I just say?
From Mooney, don't panic.
Oh,
Don't
no,
panic.
You got exactly right. Oh, that's so good.
I'm very impressed at the raw courage that fucking Selyf has.
Mhm.
Despite being such a shy boy, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna open the door for that demon. Like, that's fine.
The thing. That's the thing. Stella's only afraid of people.
Yeah. From Mooney, we have Simpson.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's really cute.
Orbis is a friend, maybe. I don't
Maybe.
know.
From Cabbage,
That is just like, so this session is just, a lot of these scares in Indigo are based purely on things that I find uncomfortable, and the image of a bunch of still statues plastered all over the outside of my cabin is horrifying. I hate it, so I did it.
I say in that quote, earlier today we were going over this session again, and Jay said, I want to make a scare that is conjuring lame and then have one thing that's actually uncomfy.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I hate the statues being on the fucking building. I hate it.
Then from Mooney, they look at a stand.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my god.
We obtained the power of a
Yeah,
stand.
we got us. Turns out this is all a bluff. We are, in fact, using the JoJo system. No.
From Lester 2020, we got the various Illmen.
Oh!
my
By the way, the Ilman grunts have maybe my favorite design of any grunt. They are so good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for liking my boys.
Yeah, I love them. They're super cute.
So good. They're so cute.
From Lester
My
2020,
weird, whiny
Oh
boys.
no!
the buff boys are coming to town.
Here they come. Fucking buff
Here
boys.
they come.
Here they come.
Ooh,
Mass, back away
that's
from your mic a little.
cool. Oh fuck! I'm gonna put away. I'm sorry.
That's
From
cool.
I
from
will
Spacey
bear that.
Chase.
Is the next one the finish thing from earlier?
Yes.
Oh
Yep.
my god, they finished
Oh.
it so
Oh.
good.
So you posting this work in progress before the stream is the reason why I said, yeah, Self has like a plush of himself. I was imagining the things to the left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very good.
The upside down teacup. Oh my
I
god.
love it. It's so cute.
I adore the crossed out misspellings.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
he lived correct.
From Cabbage, Tiny Boys.
Oh, it's
boys.
the exact opposite energy.
Oh boy.
Tiny Boys.
They're little.
From Middle, a work in progress.
Damn, middle. That's fucking.
Oh, middle. That hot damn good work.
From
That
from
is
Lester
bad.
2020, we have Yell at it.
Common fucking rider.
Also, Jay, I'm sorry, but I predicted that exact scene happening, even though you didn't tell me about it.
Damn.
I fucking knew it was gonna happen.
I was hoping to blindside my co-GMs with some lore.
You literally can't keep secrets from me. It literally has never once worked.
Damn it!
From
That's
Roma.
fine.
Roma, me too.
Oh.
I really like this.
I love that.
And then from Typical Novice, we got the rolls.
Oh, perfect. Fantastic.
Oh,
How about looking, boys?
You're
Very
looking pretty
nice.
good,
Pretty good.
actually.
From Inky, Joker!
You sure did get the wild card.
Yep, and let me real quick refresh, just in
And
case.
let me double check the channel for you. I'll let you know if there's anything else. Yes, there is one more. I can link it.
Okay.
I will link it in the general chat. There you go.
Okay, let me just pull that up real quick. I'm not sure who this is from. Can you tell me who it's from?
This is from, let me double check. This is from #1 Atticus Jaggins fan, aka Stars in a Jam Jar.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Ah, lovely. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna trust the demon outside.
I love the chubby cheeks. Yeah, demon seems cool.
So small.
Yep.
You chose the
Turns
befriend
out she
demons
kinda
route.
was.
Yeah, there was. This actually was interesting. There's a lot of fun little things we got to do in the background. This one,
Yeah.
my personal favorite because I got to do it was just swapping from light mode to dark mode when you left Windrose.
Oh yeah, you're an Indigo Town baby.
A lot of
Holy
fun
fuck.
stuff. Yeah, I think that's all we got this time.
Okay, fantastic. So, everyone who watched through fan art, who watched this entire thing, everybody who donated bits, everybody who subscribed to the Patreons, etc. Thank you all so much. When you join us next, it'll be the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
No more prologues. We're all prologued out. All of the pieces are in place, and it's time to see if we've got a fucking campaign. As usual, support us on our Patreons if you can. There's links on all the artist pages. Please go support them.
Yep.
Subscribe to the Windrose Everlasting Patreon if you want to see all of the cool gifts, including the ones that Amy just got on Betel Illman's page, as well as join the Discord. There's a link down in the description.
Yep. And more stuff will be being made available on the World Handful as time comes. I think just about everybody who got introduced to this section can have their pages revealed.
Yeah.
That's some good shit.
Especially the Mysterious Shadow.
Yeah, that page is real good. I definitely spent a long time on it and not 10 minutes.
Yeah.
David, you are a legend.
So, with no further ado, thank you everybody. Thank you to my co-GMs. Thank you, Amy, for doing this. You did so good.
Thank you for having me and inviting me. It's been an honor, honestly. I'm having so much fun. I'm super excited.
My mind is already fucking on the. Oh, I got so much to think about. So,
we'll say bye to chat, everybody.
Goodbye, chat.
Bye.
Bye.